And now, Tough Scene Cleveland with your hosts, Nick Wolf.
I am the Prince of Parma. I was in the Nick Wolf Band, Pride of Ohio. A bunch of crappy bands that never went anywhere.
Def Jeff. I'm going to leave names out. God damn, a beer is $3. I'm imagining a big stuffed unicorn. That's going to be awesome. Dave Muzzlecock.
If you're looking for me, I'm Dreamboat Pirate. I love pancakes. Well, I'm through with White Girl.
Featuring Frank Martinez.
Hey, how you doing? I just got back from Peoria, Illinois. I went out there to sell my water filtration system.
Aurora Sands.
Not a domestic woman.
And the best bands in Cleveland.
See, hold on. I'm doing a show here. Hold on.
This is Tough Scene Cleveland, dude.
Tough Scene Cleveland. We are back, season 2, the beginning of a new era of greatness. I am Nick Wolf, Def Jeff.
Yo, what's up, Nick?
We are back from Cuba.
We made it.
It was a harrowing journey. We have the sharks. In case anyone's concerned about our shark raft, they are now in the floating sphere of death that we are broadcasting from. Again, it feels great. We had everything in cobwebs. We had to make a makeshift little tank for the sharks and stuff. We're going to figure out, we're going to donate them to the APL or something.
Or the aquarium.
Right. Well, they can barely, no one goes here. They're already thinking about tearing that thing down.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was there for a summer. But, it's just us today. We have not retained the rest of our cast. They have not made it back yet from season 2 hiatus.
Yeah, they're dodging us.
We did a top secret mission in Cuba and we're stranded there and still made our way back before Muzzlecock can make it to Cedar Point on a bike. There's kids dying of multiple sclerosis right now and he's riding around in circles, still not at Cedar Point. So eventually, we're going to find Muzzlecock and we'll get him back on the show.
I think I heard he got caught up in a pancake fight somewhere on the way there.
Well, he's very adamant about IHOP and how they put their blueberries in pancakes. We know that's one of his main goals. Multiple sclerosis and blueberry pancakes are everything he's about. Aurora Sands, despite what I support, she was not raped over the summer. That was a hoax. I was being insensitive. She's got feminine problems. She's bleeding excessively today. She could not get enough tampons stuffed up her hole to clog everything up, so she can't make it. We don't want to, bear attacks or cats or anything coming in the studio. I think we've got to find Frank Martinez. He's an enigma.
Garage shopping, wasn't he?
Right. I think he was in Gotham City fighting Batman actually over the weekend. We'll find out where he is, and we'll get his ass in here to do a rock report, or a show report, a hump day show report. We kind of fell apart, but it's been a crazy summer.
It is.
People shooting up movie theaters. Jerry Sandusky, the whole Penn State
statue.
Oh my, all that stuff. The raping of the kids, the whole school, basically being found accountable for it. What else? We kind of talked about the face eatings. That happened when we were still doing the show, thankfully.
Yeah.
We got to cover that a little bit.
Well, there's been a bunch more. Right?
Well, exactly. Well, everyone's going crazy. And in the news, we'll come back in a few. I got a bunch of more stories about how people are losing their minds and the apocalypse is coming. We will have more updates on the Four Horsemen. Right now, they were at the Olympics. So next week, I think we're going to have some Olympic coverage from the Four Horsemen of Apocalypse.
Who are they rooting for?
The U.S., of course, because if anyone's going to start the apocalypse, it's going to be us. Good old Mitt. He's going to push the button. So there's been a lot of stuff going. I just want to say a big announcement for myself. I graduated from broadcasting school this week.
Awesome.
So I am now qualified. You are listening to Professional. Therefore, everything I say is correct. And if you dispute anything I say, it is because you are ignorant and uneducated. So just don't think for yourself. I'm a professional. I will lead you where you need to go. Tough Scene Cleveland audience. Thank you very much. We have 3,000 views for our first season.
Not too shabby.
That's pretty good. Things are rolling. So season 2, we got a lot of big things. We're going to start streaming live. We're going to have calls. But we're kicking off with a great show today. Jeremy Shearer is here with us. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes. But great comedian, kind of part of this kind of resurgence that's going on with bands. We've been talking about how you have these free venues to play in this city, and that more things other than bands need to kind of take advantage of this, and comedians definitely have started too. So we're going to talk to him all about that. Also, we have JC, and Def Jeff's going to go let him in here right now, but I'm going to wrap it up. But JC's going to come in, JC Koszewski, I believe that's his name. He can yell at me if I pronounce it wrong. He's promoting the UNITE CLE shows coming up, and also is promoter of AIW Wrestling. So we've got a lot to talk about with him. We've got a great show. We're going to be back in a couple minutes with Jeremy Shearer and the news. Tough Scene Cleveland. Tough Scene Cleveland, we are back, Season 2, Episode 1. I am Nick Wolf. Def Jeff is here with me.
Oh, no, I'm still waiting outside.
Oh, yeah. No, Def Jeff. You're throwing me through a loop here. You're fucking everything up. Def Jeff is trying to pull some radio shit on you guys. He's sitting right next to me. Don't listen to him. I'm an honest broadcaster, and I won't lie to you like that. Don't trust Def Jeff at all. Also with us, Jeremy Shearer, great local Akron and Cleveland comedian. How you doing?
Doing just great. I'm glad to see that you're an honest broadcaster.
Right. You don't want to be on a disreputable show, right?
No. I'm glad I'm on with a professional for once.
Jeremy Shearer has a reputation to uphold that he only wants first-class podcasts. So what's going on, man? You've been doing the comedy stuff, right? And it's been blowing up. I've noticed, basically, that comedy seems to be different. On Facebook, you see it everywhere. There's comedy nights at, like, concert clubs or bars and stuff like that, and not so much... like, you know, your hilarities and improv only, and I see that definitely your name is always one that pops up, and I've been seeing you around for a while, and we ran into each other at the 87.7 auditions.
Yeah, that whole thing. And do you ever hear anything about that?
No, did you get a call?
Of course not.
Yeah.
I was just there spying to see which 89.3 station members were showing up trying to sell out.
Right, so all the turncoats.
Yeah, and there were quite a few, but I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Well, it's radio. All the rats goes to the next ship, you know. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the best is success for them, but I don't know what they're doing. If they took some of the other people over us, because some of the people were...
well, they were looking for jocks. They weren't looking for talk. That's the best I could figure.
But that's the whole thing they said about it, was that they were, you know, they wanted people with personalities and stuff. I think they do this stuff more to kind of get their name out as a publicity thing.
Yeah, it was definitely a publicity stunt, and a stunt for shitty caffeinated water.
Right, yeah, exactly. I didn't even touch that shit.
It tasted like a meth filter. It was awful.
Now, how long have you been doing comedy? You've been doing comedy about 7 years?
Yeah, about 7 years. I started my own show at the end of 2005 down in Akron, and that ran for about a year before new ownership took over and kicked us out, and the smoking ban really hurt our business. So
right,
I used to be able to
everything.
Yeah, I used to be able to charge a lot more for doing what I do, because, you know, people would actually sit for the whole show and then hang out afters, and now you got to worry about people leaving during their smoke breaks. So. Right,
and if you don't capture their attention 100% of the time, you're going to lose them to that.
Yep. There's
been so many times, you know, you've seen a band, like especially in the band world, where a band takes too long between songs and fucks around. They're gone. The crowd's out back smoking.
That's it.
So yeah, you start off. You're into punk rock and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, like, you came up in the kind of the Akron punk scene?
I wasn't so much in the Akron punk scene. I mean, I went to a few shows. I wasn't heavily involved. You know, growing up, I was more a Coventry rat, and you know, it just went from there. I got heavily into the punk scene when I was in Colorado, out in Fort Collins, because of the blasting rooms out there. So a bunch of good bands popped up just because, you know, Bill Stevenson can produce your record. So that was a fun time. And I got to talk long hours with Carl Alvarez about heroin and eat shitty pizza and see a bunch of good bands that were just in town trying to, you know, record their albums. So,
and that's definitely like the live. Now with comedy, and definitely we're pretty open about, you know, drug use here and all those things. We've definitely done our things. I actually have a patch, several speed patches to my body right now, and a methadone pump going up the side of my penis.
That's a good place for it. You get instant blood contact there. So.
Do you think like the stand-up comedians, like their party and drug use? You're rock guys, but I think, you know, you look at like the dead comedians and stuff like that. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for the partying level of stand-up comedians.
It's pretty intense, and all the dead comics are doing stupid shit like too much heroin, you know, they're just enough heroin is enough.
Right.
Because heroin's awesome, and, you know, when you're on stage, you don't want to be distracted by anything, and being on heroin's perfect for that.
Right.
You can say whatever you want, and no, you're not going to care. So...
That explains all the great comedians.
Yeah. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, everybody was on heroin. That's just what it is. Not so much in Cleveland.
But the problem is that the one thing junkies forget about is restraint. They forget about the value of restraint. Yeah, just one shot, you know, you're good to go, but it's the 3 or 4 a day that really start fucking you up.
Yeah, and then you go to different guys, get different strengths, and then Mitch Hedberg's dead. So.
Right, exactly.
I wish I could say I was the guy that sold him the hot needle. That would be my happy claim to fame.
You sell t-shirts?
Yeah. The leaving of comedy.
Story, and you've talked a little bit about this, and I've been bringing it up because I've done some things, you know, to make money that I have been proud of. What's this about you? You cranking off a dude to be punk rock? Because I heard the whole punk rock. I've done many things. I roll up cigarette butts. I don't buy cigarettes. I roll up in papers. I think I'm pretty punk rock. I think I'm pretty hardcore.
Recycling?
Yes. I've never, though, I gotta say, I really need to, I guess, get my chops because I gotta start jacking off some dudes because that's like the punk rock way to go, right,
Oh,
Jeremy?
man, isn't punk rock, you know, the best parts of butch gay culture? I mean,
well, we really are. There's a bunch of guys that are looking at gay, trying to, you know, that are either pretending they're not gay or aren't gay.
Yeah. But no, it was, I was on meth and I was like, fuck.
Oh, you're on meth? I'm sorry, dude. It's okay. No, I understand you're on meth. Yeah.
No, well, in my mind, I was like, I've got this kid in my car, and if I don't be nice to him, he's going to tell everybody I'm homophobic and I can't be a punk rocker anymore. So I gave him the worst hand job in the history of hand jobs.
Just mashing it down.
No, I was like slow to slower, and I never went near the head of his dick.
Did you work your way up the thigh, or did you just go right into the dick?
He grabbed my hand and put it on his dick. So I mean, it was.
Did he give you a ride home?
No, I gave him a ride home. I was trying to get this motherfucker out of this party because he wouldn't stop trying to suck dicks, and. You know, it's
friendship knows no bounds with you, Jeremy. You are just I'm a caring guy.
Yeah, well, that was 10 years ago, so not so much anymore.
No, it's okay. One time, actually, I blew the singer of. I had to blow CJ 3 times a month for the first 2 years I was in the business. We don't talk too much about that. Now it's even worse. I have to have him on my show. I wish I could just go back to blowing him. Then we have to hear him talk every 3 episodes.
You didn't have to hear him talk when you were blowing him?
Oh no, he would just listen to Zakk Wylde in his headphones and zone out. Well, his girlfriend's all just pissed off in the kitchen. She'd be there. Give her time to cook.
You wouldn't be giving her pointers? This is how you do it correctly.
Right. No, I taught her some things. She had way thicker, fuller lips than I did, though. I'd have to burn them with the curling iron first. But, so I've noticed, like... It seems to be like this kind of punk rock resurgence to comedians that... Because, like, the rules of, like... And I noticed, I know like Nick from Hilarities a little bit, and when I did Lanigan and Malone, so I got to meet a lot of those people. Yeah. And he's a great guy, but he's very rigid. They're businessmen, and they're not willing, really, and they, understandably so, to take so many risks. And they like to kind of pull from the guys that are known, that are kind of been doing the thing for a while. And
well, Pickwick's trying to pull locals, but it's the same old moneymaker that they've always had. It's you have an opportunity to get seen by Hilarities, so come do the showcase and bring all your friends, and have them pay $2, have them buy a couple of drinks, and maybe we'll take a look at you. But they don't want edgy. They don't want anything that's not, generally what you see out of their MCs, which is, standard club fare. Right,
and it seems to be the same as, like, if you take, like, the rock scene where you got, like, Peabody's and clubs like that, not even trashing them specifically, but, and then, you're now that's classed as Spitfires. It seems to be the same kind of branch in comedy, except there was no lower level, and you guys are kind of finding that other world that, like, bands have with Spitfire, now it's because both being really in the last 6 or 7 years, they both opened.
Yeah. Which has been great for everybody.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I remember how it was. I remember a point where we would call the book shows and we had to say we were a rock and roll band. We couldn't even say we were punk rock or anything like that, or you wouldn't get booked.
Yeah.
Peabody's, I think they're better now, and they've got better management now. And I'm against a lot of their rules at their club. I don't necessarily like the club itself, but I do like some of the people there. So I'm trying to not trash bands and like beat up clubs so much anymore because I want them to help me out.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why I still have a hard time getting work, because I'm known for trashing people while drunk too much.
Yeah, so. It's tough. They don't really like you. No. You're just calling them a motherfucker and.
Don't say motherfucker.
And don't talk shit about Peabody's or at Peabody's while you're doing something there, because Larry will come up and kick your ass on stage. He almost did it to me. But I love those guys, but it's, at a certain point, that people want something. There is definitely a market for people that want something a little edgier, some not cookie cutter. Some people that say outrageous things that they're going to be blown away by, like, holy fuck, I didn't even think that way,
Right.
And it's great, you guys. Like I see the Spitfire, the Redstone. Obviously, there's a lot more places. How did this start? What's kind of the genesis of this?
Well, I mean, there's always been underground shows in Cleveland. It's just they're coming more to the forefront now thanks to social media. Because, I mean, when I started comedy, because I didn't know there was a lower level of comedy until I went over to Bossa Vita, below Bottoms Up, and I saw a locals-only show that was booked by a couple people that worked at Hilarities. And then I saw people that, they weren't working clubs, and they were doing something that I'd never seen before. And I was like, holy shit, I can actually get into comedy and not have to pay $250 to take a comedy class and try to go that way. This is great. So then I just started booking my own shows, and other people have not necessarily followed suit, but in comedy you have to make a lot of your own opportunities now. So
right, and when you do that, you do find people, like, it's, even though, like, being in a band, playing in different cities and stuff like that, where you're playing kind of a music, first time you go out there's no one into it, but then you start meeting people that are like-minded, and next thing you develop a scene.
Yep.
And that's always what we've been about, and I think the most important, and I love the fact that comedians are doing it. We have Aurora Sands on our show. Yeah. She's doing it in her own thing.
I've worked with her before. She's a fine lady.
She's great, and she's, very smart about just taking these open stages and creating this community of entertainment where bands work together with comedians, work with burlesque groups, work with fire jugglers, whatever we need to do. And
well, 9 times out of 10, you go see a band and all the opening acts, you really, it might be hit or miss. A little more variety with some other stuff in there.
It changes up, and it also gets, you have people that are into comedy go see a comedian they like, and they get introduced to a band. Band people get introduced to comedians.
Yep.
And it just becomes a cycle where you have more than one thing that people are going out to see. They're not just all about bands. Friday night they go see a band. Saturday night they might go check out a comedian. So there's different. It's all us being part of one group.
Yeah. We're all entertainers. I mean, we're all trying to get the same market. So,
who are some of the guys that you want to kind of give, like, some of the guys that are really kind of rocking, doing the same thing you're doing? That
well, I mean, Ramon Rivas has been doing great things with his Chucklefuck brand. He's got the Accidental Comedy Fest coming up. That was just he got asked to do the Ingenuity comedy stage, and then he realized, oh shit, I've got this whole string of rooms. I can bring people in from out of the area to just have this festival, I guess, and then that's how it started with him. But then Sean Jaundice from Strut and Cox, he's the guy. He just started Spitfire, and he's been working his ass off trying to get better.
Yeah, I love Sean. I know it's funny because I've seen this name kind of associated with you and doing the comedy. So like, Sean Jaundice, cool. Like, all right, this must be a comedian dude, and he liked us, we were friends. I'm like, oh, all right, this guy is cool. This Sean Jaundice knows who I am. Maybe I should have him on and get to know this guy. I find out it's Sean from the Starting Cox that I've been playing shows with forever. Right. Yeah, awesome, great. One more thing that he can be better at, think he's better at me than, you fucking asshole. Yeah, no, I love Sean. It's cool to see. I don't know. I can't see him being a comedian, but we'll see. I'm sure
it's been surprising. I mean, Sean's been watching comedy for a long time, but now that he's getting into it, he's actually doing the work and getting out there every night like you're supposed to, and writing constantly and starting your own room.
Well, that's what you're saying. It's like what is the discipline? Because it definitely seems, because I'm trying to get into it too. I've done a few stand-up acts, and with the radio, I'm looking to do more. And it definitely seems like there's a discipline where you kind of always writing down your ideas, coming up with broad general ideas, and then refining them over and over every day. How often are you kind of changing your act? Does it change every day?
Every day.
Yeah.
I have my road act that I've been working for 5 years. That even that I'm still changing. I'm still trying to come up with new tags. But I try, since I do a lot of the same rooms over and over again, I don't want to do the same act every time because that's going to kill a crowd. It's not like music where you can play, here's your favorite song, and everybody goes nuts. It's not like that with comedy.
Right, you can't do the covers, you can't just start doing Hedberg jokes or...
Well, some would argue that you can, and they're
some
wrong.
Comedians that make their career off doing other people's jokes.
There are. I won't name names, but many of them aren't my color. But... It's a cultural thing. I mean, some people...
You're saying Indians are awful thieves when it comes to comedy, right?
Actually, Sumak Torgalkar is one of the most original motherfuckers I've ever met, and he's from around here, moved down to Columbus, and he's doing big things now. But, no, I mean, I've worked a lot of urban clubs, because urban in comedy means black.
Right.
And it's guys that just start out there is like, we're going to do Richard Pryor.
Right.
And people are going to pay us for it because we're talented.
Half of them just come on and like dance for like the first 20 minutes they're on it. Do you like come on, you got comedy at some point.
I've worked with headliners that fucking do a 10-minute dance closer. It's the worst. It's the worst. And nobody's doing anything except staring at you, and they think this is comedy. But, it's a different...
Well, you see, now with all these venues there being a lot more comedy, is it... From when you started, is it watered down at all? Are you seeing that, or is it kind of still building and kind of...
It's still building, especially because, the more new voices that you get, the better, because, again, you want fresh jokes and fresh talent so that people stay interested. Yeah, they're going to stay, attached to who they like and follow their career, but in order to build the scene, they have to be attached to the show, not necessarily the people, because it's the show that should keep bringing them out week after week.
Right, exactly.
And, I mean, the people are still trying to work out their act so they can attempt to go do hilarities or the improv or the funny stop or even move out of state, which a lot of people are doing now.
And it's like having that constant hunger and especially as a comedian, you can do it yourself. You don't have to have 5 guys, rely on other people, and if you have the hunger to really push at that level, you can go at it. You may not be successful, but at least you can go at it and try.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that are not going to be successful at this, but they still try it, and they've been trying it for years and years and years. And, some people get it after a couple months, but it's sink or swim, and there's only one way to know if you're going to be good at it, and that's to do it. This isn't something you can practice at home in front of a mirror.
Right.
There's nobody that practices in front of a mirror and then goes to their first club gig immediately and kills it.
Right, no, it doesn't happen.
No.
I mean, I was doing a band where I basically did shit... I didn't stand up for 45 minutes. I just had a band playing in between stuff for maybe 25 minutes of the stuff. But when I went and was on stage by myself for the first time, it's like you can be very... I used to get on, the band wouldn't even think about it. I wouldn't have anything prepared. I'd just be able to roll.
Right.
And you just realize really quick that when it's all on you, it doesn't work that way. And you have to be prepared, and you have to be able to handle... the mental notes of what you've prepared in your mind and not get overwhelmed and get it out, and it's a totally different thing.
Well, I mean, that kind of structure works of being, off the cuff, but you have to have a good basis in stand-up joke structure in order to make that work.
Right.
Because there are guys like Jeff Blanchard and Andy Meredith and myself who, we don't really have set lists. We just, we try to riff, but because we've written jokes, we know how to structure our thoughts into... something that'll work with an audience.
Get there so you have a payoff in with your... Because you can pretty much rant for a point, but I realize, but as long as you got to have that payoff kind of point.
Yeah. Well, it's telling story to a friend is different than telling a story on stage because there has to be beats where people are laughing and catching up with you to stick with you. It's a different structure. Stand up is opposed to naturally being funny.
Yeah, it's rough. One of my last times I did it, I got a knife pulled on me.
Was that now that's class?
That was at Sackenheim. I don't know why the hell I was there. I realized right away it was a bad idea, and I went on. No one knew who the hell no one introduced me. They just gave me the microphone, start talking. So,
I've had that happen.
Right away, you have girls trying to take your microphone away from you. It was just bad news. What was playing in front of kind of doing the clubs now and stuff like that, and with different crowds? Has there been anything like really crazy with like hecklers or like?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had a guy that was I used to run a room out in Mogador, and I had a guy that was the mayor's son, just got out of prison, and he is on a massive amount of PCP, and decided that he was going to stand in front of the stage and stare directly into every single comedian's eyes, just waiting for them to swing at him. And this went on for an hour before the bartender finally threw him out.
Those fucking comedians think they're so tough. Fuck them.
Yeah, he's just standing there wearing a Pantera shirt, going, "Let's fight."
Can't get over the overall macho-ness that's oozing from you comedians on stage.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He was threatening a 50-year-old lawyer. You know, man. But that shit like that happens all the time. I mean, Spitfire had the first week we did comedy there. This fucking drunk bitch was there, just yelling out stuff about Jews for the first 4 comics until.
Oh yeah, drunk Jew lady.
Yeah.
I know her.
Yeah, until her ex showed up with her kids, and I was just like, "Fuck! I don't perform in front of kids." And John just is like, "No, they're gonna get rid of her." So thank goodness the kids showed up.
Boy, the distractions and trouble at the Spitfire, I'm shocked. At least they weren't whipping cans at you at 80 miles an hour. Yet they have no civility at the Spitfire at all.
That's one of the things I like about it. I like to interact with crowds like that, but I found lately I've had less and less of that because people want to listen to me. Like, we did a show at 5 o'clock a while ago where the guys that were living in the apartment above us, they brought out a drum kit and started doing rim shots while people were performing. It was great.
Nice.
And just yelling at everybody until I got on stage, and the only thing I heard from them was, "What the fuck?" after I told that handjob story. So.
Do you find out who your audience is right after the handjob story?
Yeah. Well, I walked an audience at Annabelle's when I did that, so just at the end of the story, I look out, I was like, "There's no one here." They did not like that. Oh well.
And I've gotten handjobs at Annabelle's before, and they seem to go really well together.
I've gotten roofied at Annabelle's before. That is a fucking weird place.
Yeah.
This old Mexican guy gave me a shot of Patron, and then the next thing I know, I can't walk. So.
And there's white crust all over the sides of your jeans. You have a sombrero on your head.
Fortunately, I had my mom's van that had the hand thing, so that you don't have to use your feet to drive, because she's got MS. So.
You will be pleased to know that, well, I don't know if it's MS or multiple sclerosis, but Dave Muzzlecock is earning money right now for that.
Oh,
yeah,
he's pedaling to the point?
He's pedaling to the point.
Excellent.
Team Shark Sandwich.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I did the readathon when I was a kid, and then they were like, "Well, now we need you to walk. You're too old for the readathon." And I was like, "Fuck you, I'm fat. I'm not walking for shit. I'm not pedaling anywhere."
All right, well, Jeremy, we're going to be back here. We're going to do the news here in a minute.
All right.
Then we're going to have JC Koszewski on, and yeah, we'll be back in a minute. Tough Scene Cleveland. Tough Scene Cleveland. Nick Wolf, Def Jeff, Jimmy Shear here with you. It's the news time. Def Jeff, it's been a big summer. I know you have been, even while we were in Cuba, you were on the computer, your typewriter, you were looking at all the news stories. What do you got for me?
I was glued to it.
What's going on, Def Jeff?
I got nothing, Nick.
What do you want to
recap some stuff from the summer?
You are such a perfectionist. He has a million stories, and he goes just to find the best stories. But he is such a perfectionist that he does not take any of them. He throws them all away. Yeah, there has been a lot of things going on. Right now, the Olympics. We missed out on the Olympics.
Yeah, we were rooting for Cuba, though.
Yeah, right. We're the wrong team to really root for. But
I don't know. I think their swimming team has got to be amazing.
They're awesome. They do bring great swimmers from Cuba. I don't know. I don't follow the Olympics too much because I basically believe that America's already better than the rest of the world. So why the hell do we need to compete in archery?
Yeah, we already won.
Let some fat Chinese guy with a Lego haircut get his gold medal. We don't need to fight him for it. And then you find yourself. You know the trip where you're public and you find yourself staring a little too longingly at the gymnast?
Yeah.
Like, dude, she's 16.
That's what they're there for.
Exactly. Like, she's flat as a board, yeah, but look at those calves. Ah! But when you're with your family and you're pitching a tent and like rubbing, doing this, they don't like it too much.
My
They
family
find it weird.
expects that.
Okay, it's a normal thing in your household.
Yeah,
Well,
Uncle
it's
Jeremy.
They just walk in, you're naked, looking already. Like, the game's about to start!
There's always a obligatory crotch shot during the diving. You know?
Right.
That's how they get ratings, probably.
So there's been some real crazy in the recap. Obviously, what's his name? Oh, Def Chef, go get the gates. I'll handle things here. I'll handle the news without you, Def Chef. Don't worry. I know it's going to be difficult, but Jeremy and I myself can handle this.
I think we got it.
So, one of the big things that happened before we went on vacation was obviously the Ronald Popo getting attacked, the homeless man that was attacked in Florida. And basically they're talking, now he's finally talking.
Oh, they didn't need his tongue. That's the best part.
So thank God, now this guy's going to be, like, I feel great for him now, and I love him now, but I give it about a week before, I'm just going to be sick of this asshole, because it's going to be, oh, he ripped off my face this, and pulled out my eyes that. He's already whining about this guy plucking out his eyes. Like, come on, dude. You've been through the worst. Quit bitching, all right? We all care. You got the cards and sympathy. You want more shit from us?
He's bitching until somebody gives him a book deal.
Right. And he's going to go, this was the best thing that ever happened to Ronald Popo. He was a homeless man that couldn't get a break in life. This wonderful man came along and ripped his face apart. Now this guy's never going to have to work a day in his life. He's going to be a millionaire. He's going to live a life of a king.
Yeah, but part of that is he has to bitch about it so that people can feel sorry for him. Otherwise, he's not doing his job.
I guess that's true.
What does his face look like now? Did they fix it or what?
Let me see. Well, so for the first time, Ronald Popo can be heard describing a day naked north on Miami. It still makes me laugh. Man attacked him and chewed off his face. He ripped me to ribbons. The 6'5" told him. He chewed out my face. He plucked out my eyes, and that's basically all there is to say about that. So I guess Forrest Gump was
about that.
Forrest Gump was attacked somewhere in Florida. He was in Alabama, but he just started running, and next thing you know, there's a naked man running after him, going after his face.
Jenny, why don't you love me? My face is tasty.
Mama says my face is like a box of chocolates.
You gotta pluck out the eyeballs because they're gooey.
For a very short time, I thought he was a good guy. Impressions aren't everything. But he just went and turned berserk. He apparently didn't have a good day at the beach, and he was coming back, and I guess he took it out on me or something. I don't know. So I certainly didn't curse the guy or say anything nasty to him. Because you can't say, well, if Ron Popo would have called him the N-word, would he have been would this have been okay? Would he have gotten away with it? Would it have been justifiable?
Justifiable face eating, I don't believe, is a word.
So the race card doesn't cover that.
No. You can. I think you can safely, not get away with that. You can never, ever eat a man's face off, even if he calls you a nigger. So.
What about a dirty nigger? I mean, come on. There's got to be limits. Have we gained
dirty
more
nigger?
in the
You can
last
pluck
40
out his
years?
eyes.
Right.
You can pluck out his eyes. You can't eat his face.
Martin Luther King would be rolling in his grave if he heard this. All right. Also, so with all the violence going on right now, just craziness in the streets, thankfully there is somebody that's being sane and logical and wants to get rid of gun violence. Do you know who this is, Def Jeff?
No clue.
New gun violence activist, David Berkowitz, also known as the Son of Sam.
Oh, wow.
He spoke to the Daily News from Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York. He's doing 25 years of life, which he's already been in there for 25 years. We should start hearing like Berkowitz parole tapes, like Charles Manson. They can do a double header now.
Yeah.
It'd be great. JC, that could be a next thing you could get into.
Yeah, I'll totally get on that.
JC's in here with us. Jeff Letterman, everything's okay. So we're going to have him on in a few. We're just doing the news right now, letting people know. It's a very serious part of our show.
Yeah.
Pet the sharks. They're okay.
Yes.
Very serious.
Do not mind the Shark Tank and the orbiting spear of death.
Okay.
Jeff had to get the rocket to launch JC up here. But, so yeah, he killed 6 people, obviously, in the 70s. Very famous. The dog was telling everyone knows about the Son of Sam. But he's saying, young people are losing direction and don't value life. No, because he valued life when he was a youngster. They don't get up and close and shoot people anymore. It's all just not personal anymore.
Now they eat people's faces and
right.
open fire in a movie
Yeah,
theater.
it's blind rage.
Right.
That's pretty personal, eating somebody's face. But
If Berkowitz would have never have done that. He has good class and standards. Just how he says His hope is for young people to realize just how terrible violence is. When they use a gun, they ruin their lives too. So kids out there, if you don't want to listen to, you grew up not wanting to listen to Nancy Reagan, you don't want to listen to President Obama or any of like the people, your teachers, your parents, listen to David Berkowitz, listen to the Son of Sam, or listen to your neighbor's dog. One of the two, and they will set you the right way.
David Berkowitz apparently has Bill Brady's dog as a therapy dog. That's why he's a gun control advocate.
So Berkowitz is cinema, right? Did you guys know there were zombies in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Now they're vampires.
Vampires?
There's been a vampire killing, and I know because the Huffington Post told me. And listen, nothing gets more accurate than the weird section from Huffington Post.
Oh my goodness!
So, listen, a male prostitute, self-described vampire, may have been murdered as a revenge for a violent rape. I mean,
oh wow!
Did he rape him with his teeth?
Listen, Shane Charters Abbott, 28, was shot dead. In Melbourne. He was a prostitute and he was waiting trial for raping a female client. So, okay, so...
Wait a minute.
What the fuck? So, raping a client?
So, like, did they finish too soon before she was ready? Like,
yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's what happened.
I paid for 15 minutes. You went 3, you little faggot.
Well, vampires, they can't produce as much semen as a normal man being dead and all.
No, is it blood?
Right. Yeah, how does it even work?
Blood? Is it like the Metallica shirt from the 90s?
Yeah.
That's what I always thought whenever I see vampires banging.
You're supposed to be a vampire. Why aren't you sparkling?
I don't know. That's crazy. And can vampires get AIDS? Like, can they get AIDS from someone? Because they drink blood.
Yeah, but it can't kill them. They just
that's true. They just always have a cold.
Yeah. They've still got Kaposi's sarcoma. It just doesn't kill them.
They just have to deal with it forever.
Charles Abbott, raping the woman, beating her, biting her tongue off, and leaving her unconscious in a hotel room.
See, at least he knew the tongue is the most delicious part.
Right.
So.
Well, that is on a pig and a cow. That's like, shit. That's a delicacy. I'm sure on a hot chick it'd be even better. But I guess in Australia you're not allowed to beat, rape, and bite a woman's tongue off. Luckily, I only stay at the Parma Motel where things are totally okay. You pick up some slut at Club Atlantis, you got her in the bathtub, cut up 20 minutes later. It's efficient, easy, good.
Get the quick lime.
Yeah. He said he was a 200-year-old vampire, and he needed blood to survive. I guess the tongue is where the blood...
Okay.
He has no idea how to be a vampire. That's so sloppy. They're like smooth. They just bite on the neck.
A little bite on the neck, a little bite on the wrist, inner thigh,
This guy's a pig.
So he's a vampire prostitute?
Yeah, he's a vampire prostitute. He said he was innocent.
He's just a gay guy with body glitter.
I kind of pretend like all gay guys are vampires, actually. Like, holy burn!
He spends his night sucking, too.
I never thought this would lead into so many funny threads when I picked this story. So this is where it gets kind of confusing. All right, he said he fled the room when the women told him that there were men planning to film a pornographic movie that would end with his death. So he said it was a snuff film, but he's a vampire. So once again, he's really worried about death for a vampire. He's 200 years. You think he's like can handle it?
But he planned it out better.
Yeah, right. So there are people out there that want to do vampire snuff films, I guess. I'm surprised he was a straight prostitute. I didn't think that existed.
Oh yeah, that exists. There are some women that have to pay for sex.
I mean, I thought about doing like the dancing bear and stuff before. That seems like a good way to make extra money. But
it is. But
you do seem like you've done some dancing bear work.
Yes.
Ladies, Jeremy Shearer, all your bachelorette party needs.
Yeah, I'll dance for you. Watch me jiggle.
And if you're, men, bachelor party, you'll get a hand job. Just tell him, he's not punk rock enough.
Yeah. You're not punk. Jerk me off.
I won't like you if you don't jerk me off.
Oh, okay.
I'll call you a homophobe. You're not a homophobe if you refuse to jack a man off.
Well, I know that now. That's why meth is a terrible drug.
JP said that a policeman and former detective were also involved, so now the authorities are involved in this too. The statement participated in Operation Briars, an investigation aimed at determining which officials were involved. and it's the most expensive investigation. So I don't know. There's some whole weird thing that the cops were.
Van Helsing? Or
I think the cops were going to raid this place, and he killed the hooker real quick and tried to escape.
Yeah.
Or killed his client and tried to escape.
There's a secret society of vampire hunters amongst the Australian police.
I guess so. We got one of them vampires there, mate. Nothing good comes out of Australia.
It's just Blade getting off a plane getting pissed.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes doing mad, they're all talking all funny.
Where is Wesley Snipes right now?
He's killing vampire prostitutes. Some motherfuckers always got to ice skate uphill.
I mean, what's with people? People got to calm down with the movies and fantasy and everything. They're like making it. You have that idiot shoots up the theater thinking he's the Joker. You have now, like, vampire prostitutes. Mm-hmm. It's movies, people. Yeah. It's TV. It's entertainment. Do not live your life by that, you fucking maniacs. You have the computer so you can sit at your house and not have to leave and be around the rest of society. Stay there.
Type it out. Make a little erotic fan fiction. Don't be a gay vampire prostitute.
That is not for kids. David Berkowitz, 101. Do not be a vampire prostitute. There are better things in life than that. All right, well, so Tustin Cleveland will keep you posted on all gay vampire stories. Because there's going to be copycat gay vampires, I guarantee it.
I expect somebody murdered at the chamber in the next week.
Right. Exactly, that's where it's going to happen.
Yeah. Preferably it's not while my show's happening.
Yeah.
Right. Unite CLE.
Don't do it next weekend if you're going to copycat.
We're not using the chamber because the vampires actually put the kibosh on it. Can we use that room too? Like, nah, vampires got that.
The antediluvian masters of the chamber said no mushroom head here.
So it could either be a great time for everybody or a satanic vampire blood orgy. Yeah. One of the two.
One of the two.
What are the chances that your show will turn out like the beginning of Blade 1?
Maybe they're in the dubstep part. Yeah.
Somebody's going to cover New Order.
Hillbilly's not getting it.
Right.
What the hell is this Transformer shit?
So we'll get more into that in a minute. We've got important news stories to get through here. So I'm only going to do one more news story. Let's see. Crazy drunken woman thinks she's Karate Kid and tries to bite a cop.
Oh, I saw this, yeah.
Man performs oral sex on a horse, and a man who crushes police car, a new folk hero. Which one do you guys want to hear?
I want to hear about this folk hero.
Yeah, it's actually a great story. I was hoping you guys would pick that one out. Okay, so when an angry Roger Pean allegedly took a tractor and crushed 6 police cars in a van last week, and a likely anti-establishment hero was born. The 34-year-old Vermont man pleaded not guilty.
Vermont?
Who does it in Vermont? Like, if this was Alabama or anywhere, West Virginia, I figure this happens every week.
This is Montpelier, son. We gangsta.
Give me some maple syrup, bitch! Has been lionized on Facebook pages, tribute songs, and a t-shirt. The New Orleans Sheriff's Department alleges that Peon, smarting over an early arrest for marijuana possession and resisting arrest. So that's what you get busted for marijuana and just trash a fleet of cars.
Good for him. Yeah, way to advance the stigma that potheads are all violent people.
Well, he's resisting arrest. So you think, man, I've never, when I've been messed with cops being high, that's the last thing I want to do is arrest. Yeah. All right, man, here, just fucking take it. Can I just go sit in the cell until someone picks me up? Chill out.
Compliance sounds like the funnest part.
Right. Yeah. No, this guy was pissed, and he jumped from the cruiser and he headed towards him. So this is like a Dukes of Hazzard or something like that. He was arrested at gunpoint 2 miles away. There's a page on Facebook called Roger P. and the Magnificent. So, hey, check that out, everyone there on the computer. If you want to, this guy's a hero. I mean, how many of us have wished we could do something like that?
I want to smoke what he's smoking.
That's got to be some good-ass weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just get lazy and want to jerk off and watch TV. I've never trashed any police cars.
I just want to eat donuts. I become a cop. This motherfucker wants to kill them all.
He's going to start analyzing people and eating donuts.
There's no love lost between PN and law enforcement. Court papers reported this week by the Burlington Free Press. Police said PN had been uncooperative and aggressive and past the counters. Yeah, no shit. You don't just start out of nowhere and just take out cop cars. There's like, smashing a windshield.
There's an escalation
before that, right? He's charged with 15 crimes, including multiple counts of felony mischief, reckless driving, and leaving the scene of an accident. His relatives say he's being unfairly targeted by the police for years. Says, I love the police. They're like, who's the craziest guy in this city? We're gonna fuck with him. There's like there's a special unit in every city just to fuck with one guy who's eventually gonna go shit crazy, and they just disappear.
Yeah, that's what you get for fucking with them, so just be careful who you're harassing, cops that are listening to this show.
Once again, Tough Scene Cleveland does not advocate violence towards cops in any ways, but I gotta say, it was pretty fucking cool.
Only property was damaged, that's okay.
Right, no one was hurt, so we can laugh about it.
Yeah. Now, if there were cops in the car, being crushed to death under the weight of this man's rage...
We'd have to wait 2 weeks to laugh about it.
Yeah.
And then or else we'd be in deep shit.
Otherwise, you would have to rename your podcast to Too Soon Cleveland.
Alright, well that is the news. Def Jeff,
awesome job.
You did a great job as usual, providing absolutely nothing to this. Thank you for giving me the moral support as I looked up the stories.
Is that why he's Def Jeff?
He's been feeding me lines with sign language.
Right, okay, so he's just singing, yes.
You guys will see the dry erase board.
He's a magician with it. He's like Morse. He's got his Morse code. He's got everything set up in front of him, so he actually doesn't have to talk or listen. So, Tough Scene Cleveland, we're gonna be back in a minute with JC. Is it Koszewski? Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds such a stupid friggin' Parma dude. I should know how to pronounce names like that.
Yeah, it's very Parma.
Koszewski, okay. Kind of more like Coach K from how his name's on, but it's Koszewski, but you wouldn't know it by spelling. Okay. Yeah. Well, I've been butchering your name so far, so I'm glad I got it right.
Apparently, you're not destined for success because you don't have an easily pronounceable stage name.
Yeah. But JC's just so much easier.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Rock the God card.
Well, that's why. I mean, you're known as JC pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's why the last name kind of confused me. But like, all right, yeah, I know who that is.
My real name is Jedediah too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's why JC. I was kind of screwed as far as catching.
Well, you play it right. You didn't grow the beard out longer. You can definitely do it.
Are you a carpenter?
Well, either way, it works out. Yeah. There's something crazy religious going on, but So, yeah, the UNITE CLE, the big festival coming up here. We're going to talk about that. Also, I want to talk a little bit wrestling, AIW. So, yeah, we'll be back in a couple minutes. Tough Scene Cleveland. Woo! Holy horse shit! This is Tough Scene Cleveland, you son of a bitch! Tough Scene Cleveland, we are back again. Nick Wolf, Def Jeff, Jimmy Sheeran here with us. Hanging on.
Yeah, I'm still here.
And JC Koszewski.
Yeah.
So, how you doing, man?
Good, real good, man.
JC is in the band Killing It. He is promoter, president of Absolute Intense Wrestling.
No, I was. Now I'm Firestorm Pro Wrestling.
Okay, so it's Firestorm. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, that's it. No, I was with AIW to about 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I left and started Firestorm Pro Wrestling.
All right, cool.
So.
All right, I thought it was vice versa. I thought you started with Firestorm.
No,
okay,
no,
cool.
I started with it. It was like we had too many cooks in the kitchen in AIW, so some of the cooks went and started Firestorm.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So I still work with those kids. They're good kids, you know.
It's kind of confusing though. I remember when it was just JT. It was easy. You just go to Turner Hall on that Sunday.
Yeah, rest in peace, JT too.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
that was 1 year ago. He passed.
Yeah. It's been a
year.
Right
year last week. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
It's been a rough year, man. Him, brother Ed, we've lost a lot of great people. Even Mitch over on Clifton with last week, which I want to talk really quick. The accidents that did happen on Clifton. If you listen to the show, you know that Tim Spock has been on our show before. And obviously he was the one that was caused the accident. And we, as people that know him and as a show, are horrified by the events and obviously don't back his events and obviously really don't we're not going to support. I mean, he was our friend, but what he did was just fucking awful and irresponsible and rotten. So, just want to say right now that our hearts go out to everyone, the families and the victims and everything. And, people got to think. You got to stop being stupid. And you live these lifestyles, and you might be okay, but you're hurting other fucking people. So, just want to say that really quick. But getting back to you, JC, you're also doing, and while you're here, is the big Unite CLE show, August 24th and 25th?
And 26th.
And the 26th, the whole weekend.
Yeah.
At the Fantasy Complex.
Yeah, the whole block, you know, the music block anymore, you know what I mean?
Right, which is amazing, because, like, I went to a rave years ago, I think like 2000, when they had the whole place opened up.
Yeah.
And actually, it really is a cool complex. We have the theater running, and that's probably one of the most underused venues in this city.
Yeah,
it's like a perfectly good venue that just
awesome,
doesn't
actually. Yeah.
You never hear one person go in there and go, "Oh my God, like this sucks." It's perfect combination of sitting and standing and the feeling,
right.
And it feels like classic music if you're in there. It feels like, you know,
definitely feel like you're in a concert. Yeah,
a concert,
like
you know,
a smaller agora.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
yeah. I love it. I've only been there a couple times, but it's definitely should be used more. But real quick before we get anything, I just want to ask you, like, the aesthetics of setting that up. What goes into that? Because is it? I've heard there are problems like you have to bring in your own like generators and stuff for the sound, or
no. I mean, it's we can power everything and stuff. It's the same thing as I would use rent the Agora. It's a blank room, and I got to bring in everything.
Okay,
yeah, all the production and. You know, that's and considering we're doing old school Mushroom Head, it's not as big as a normal Mushroom Head theater show, but it's still going to be bigger production. Right, you know what I mean? It's still people are interested in the spectacle. You know,
right?
Of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Especially being the old school Mushroom Head.
Yeah.
And I guess let's start. You definitely. I've known of you for a very long time. You started playing in bands when you were really young.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You were like 17.
15 actually.
15, yeah. I mean, I remember.
97 I started.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Right around the time. We didn't know each other that well, but I knew of you definitely through people, and I knew of you as this kind of kid. And you've always been around, and you were doing the wrestling thing, and I guess like. You definitely came up kind of more in the hardcore and metal scenes.
Yeah.
And seeing them progress. Why is this show important? Why was it important for you to do this? And I'll just say right away, I'm kind of loading it because obviously you know how I feel about the promoters and all that shit. We have the Cleveland Music Festival going on right now.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I've been up there with what I believe in that. I think it's a scam. I think those Dan Cole, you guys know how I feel about him. What does it mean to you, kind of doing a show as an actual musician promoter and being able?
Well, number one, what you just said is meaning. You know what I mean? It's very like it's the idea of a music festival more or less is getting as much as you can, most bang for your buck. But more or less, I was trying to put together a festival that every day was meaningful. Like, you know, back when we used to go to, you know, World Series of Metal when we were younger and stuff like that, and you'd go see, like, you're getting exposed to bands that you heard rumors about and stuff, and you're seeing them for the first time, and just being able to create those experiences that people in Cleveland have one show to go to every year where they can tell their kids about, and I'm going to make sure that I develop the right lineup and the right package and make it feel like Cleveland. You know what I mean?
When did you start exactly formulating this idea? And
it was actually when because I'm in Killing It with Jim from Chimera. So right when he was leaving Chimera, we were already talking about starting a band, but we were more or less talking about starting a company where we would start working with like a select group of local bands and literally working together and creating, I mean, I hate to use the term mafia, but create something that protects the bands, that we stick together like a union. And I started thinking about how, I mean, it's a great idea in
I
theory.
tried doing that years ago. Unfortunately, was a mafia.
Yeah. It's you know, when you get into band egos and stuff like that, it's like the more and more I thought about it, it just unless everybody was going to pitch in and buy a venue together, and I'm talking like a nice venue and still take on nationals and be competition, it was just such a far-fetched idea. And we were originally calling it Unite CLE, and then we started the band and we got off the subject, and I've been dying to do a music festival. Like, I was, you know, developing one with Mushroom Head for a couple of years of doing a Mushroom Head related one. Their schedules are so out of control.
And you've booked their Halloween shows the last several years.
5 years, yeah.
And being in the wrestling, you definitely had an idea of promoting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, with Unite CLE, a lot of the format and how I'm putting it together is I'm just selling it like a wrestling show. Right. In my head, I'm just doing the same my Firestorm AIW formula and how I'm pushing it.
Well, I feel they've always gone really well. I mean, the whole format and idea of it.
So the WrestleMania Cleveland music, so much. That's really what it is. Like
reworm in a cage.
Reworm in a cage. Yeah, the 1 year The Rock wrestles. You know, the last time Tony Erba. You know, I mean, but Tony Erba is more or less he's the Terry Funk. He's the Terry Funk of wrestling. I'm retired. No, I'm not. I'm retired.
Every time the band breaks up, because he's a maniac. That's what, and he can say whatever he wants. It's because he's a maniac every fucking time.
And I'm
done, dude. I'm just over with. Next thing you know, he's got like some other band that's
and
doing better than mine ever did. First.
And he's the Cactus Jack. You know, he's the guy that just keeps on keeping on and then retiring and keep on keeping on. You know. But yeah, that's funny because I'm actually putting face value. They're playing with Spud Monsters and Mushroom on a Saturday, so you're going to have the asshole of Tony Urban in front of a Mushroom Head crowd, and I'm like, man, that's about as good as putting Jim Connie on a Slipknot show. Like I was like this is ridiculous.
It's funny you say it because I do want to ask you right now. There's been some controversy about Schnauzer's not playing this show. Some people.
I was with Jim last night. There was just never a formal conference. There was never never came up.
You bit the bullet, basically. You avoided biting the bullet.
Well, no, I mean, honest to God, I didn't know Schnauzer was even doing anything because as far as that side of things, I was only seeing Steve Eggs, and he's not even in the band. Steve Eggs is like, he's coming to parties at my house and like talking about other stuff, and I'm like, hey, Schnauzer, I don't have to know. I didn't know they were still a band until Noah from Slipsis played me their new record, and I'm like, they have a new record, and like I go to, I'm like, I feel like an ass, you know what I mean, for not doing it, but at the same time, it's good that I didn't book everybody. You know what I mean? I didn't book the Schnauzers or the Ringworms this year because I can get them next year.
Exactly.
I could do a different lineup now.
Because you can't just keep pumping the same thing every year.
No,
that is definitely smart.
I'll definitely be trying. My biggest goal will be Schnauzer and Machine Gun Kelly. That will be, MGK and Schnauzer is definitely what we're planning on doing.
That would be amazing.
Brown Stadium, MGK and Schnauzer is kind of next year's plan.
He shoots Kanye.
Can you imagine Jim just talking to him? I saw him last night at Unified, and he just walked by and he says, "Have a nice life." And just
you never know what you're gonna get with. I actually found myself hanging out with him like a week ago, and just like driving around, like, why the hell am I with Jim Connie right now?
Yeah, that guy is his own reality TV. He doesn't even need cable.
He's great.
As long as he's got the Steelers and his own, self, he's fine.
And the Yankees and everything else that's non-Cleveland that he can give a shit about.
Yeah, well, there is a song on the new record called "The People's Corpse," and it is awesome. It is so typical good Schnauzer.
It was funny, like you said, you didn't know about it when it came out. Steve knew about it, I guess, from Jim or whatever. And he was telling Puma about it. Puma's like, what the hell are you talking about? We have a new album? Like, the band didn't know. It starts some shit because Kanye's like, what are you tell him I'm talking shit about my band? He's like, no. He's like, I assume they knew your album was out.
I think they're doing a split 7-inch for Schnauzer. That's what they were recording. And it's like Jim wanted his like one buddy to sing on the record. The dude wouldn't do it. So Jim hounded the dude so much to do it that he left like a 5-minute voicemail, like being pissed. That's the vocals now on the song. is the voicemail of him telling him he wants to sing on his song.
And you want to know why people are like, why does Cleveland think they're so great with music and stuff? It's because really you're not going to find acts, like whether it's comedy, music, other things, you're not going to find acts like that. They come out of other cities.
It's pure. It's 100% pure. Like, I remember being around Hatebreed once, and Jamie Josta was like, "Is that an F and Schnauzer shirt?" He's like, "I got a split with them and Dahmer. I love Dahmer." And I'm like, I'm not even in Ohio, and Jamie Josta's telling me that. I'm like, it's cool, It makes me feel proud Clevelander,
It was, and you see, like, in that scene, definitely, and it's weird, because, like, being friends with Urba, sometimes you get an effect of really how big some of these bands, their effect is outside
of Cleveland. Yeah,
I mean, you really can't go. I mean, there's so many stories.
It's tragic.
In other countries where they know who Tony Urba is, and these other people obviously people like Hatrix and stuff like that.
Like did you see the pictures of Spuds last summer?
Right, exactly.
They were playing festivals in front of 4,000 or 5,000 people.
These bands are huge, and they just get looked at as like Cleveland and stuff. But these are all bands that are doing their own things. They've been doing it for years and have really found their niche and really have made a huge impact.
Yeah.
On the music in general, all over the world. And they're just these idiots that we know from hanging
out.
Dudes
right up the street and stuff like that. And the worst part is that a lot of Clevelanders don't know it. A lot of kids. I'm hoping with the UNITE CLE, because we're doing the best of the past, present, and future. Is how we kind of sold it.
Right.
Like uniting all eras. And hopefully young kids will, hopefully a younger Mushroomhead fan there just to experience old school for the first time will go, hey, the Spud Monsters are pretty cool, or the Killing It band's great, or or the Missing or something. Like they're going to be exposed to a younger band that can give it to them.
The Missing just put out their damn album already, so I can stop hearing about it every damn second. Come on, Elliot, and what's the other guy?
Chris and
Chris, yeah. I'm excited for you guys, but shit, I don't need 80 updates a day.
Yeah.
Great. I can't wait for White Gold, the Missing's new album.
Yeah.
Everyone buy it off iTunes. It's going to be amazing.
I just hope I actually jizz gold when I get it. Well, I'll be getting a text from Chris this week over that. Hey, bro, you tell me I'm jizzing gold. What's up, bro? That's not cool.
They're good guys. They're very.
I love Chris.
They push themselves. They're good.
Great heart.
So I see. We'll go to the first night. Damn.
Yeah.
So kind of more of a new schooler kind of show.
Yeah, new school the first night.
Ventana and Solipsis.
Yeah.
Both bands. I've partied with both bands. They both see me wasted, puking, and doing bad things.
And cool. I mean, they're both polar opposites in styles, but I think they both have the same energy, and it's gonna be cool seeing them combine efforts and playing right into each other.
And then Tend to Fly Viper.
That's Skinny and Waylon and Schmatz from Mushroomhead.
Yeah. They're cool. They did a video years ago at the Jigsaw.
Like the Jigsaw Reno, yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy night.
Yeah.
Fucking A. But they're a lot of fun. They're cool.
Yeah, nobody was acting in the video. It was all legit raging.
Yeah, right. No, that was really going on.
That was true. That was just them filming them getting hammered.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. And I love that video because it does show the Jigsaw really for what the Jigsaw was.
The purity.
Especially right before it.
Yeah,
that was right before the rape. Yeah.
Yeah, that was that was right in the Phil era.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're trying to start an entertainment company, Phil Lara is out there still looking to start an entertainment company. Because I saw how, and I wanted to jump in before, how rough that is, but I saw it done completely the wrong way.
Hey,
where you just
the same guy that partnered up with them still owns Peabody's.
Exactly, but we saved his ass though. It turned out to be a good idea because we had. Dude, I don't know, like, the Unit Local 00 thing, at one point I had, like, Scene Magazine and an article I did with them, just basically telling people not to go to Peabody's, that just let it close in a year. And we were getting reports that they were literally done. Like, that they were going to close up doors within a month or two. And Phil came in and gave them money right when we had them on the ropes. And just to make them survive, and just with the same.
Dude, when he gave him that money, I was doing the Halloween Mushroomhead show. My first year I did it with Dan and Chris, and then the next year I did it with Chris, and then Phil buys in. So Phil buys into the Halloween show. So I got a third partner that I didn't even ask for, And then when it came down, and this is one of my, I've had good days and bad days with Chris, and this was one of the good ones because when Chris shit the bed by buying in with this guy and selling out, so I'm dealing with his mistake, but the dude flakes out of Peabody's 2 weeks before the show at buys the Agora where we're doing the show at. So I didn't know who my partners were or what I was renting until the next day. I mean, it made a difference. Like I lost.
Hey, dude, I'm your partner. What's going on? Want a shot?
Yeah, want a shot. And like the next day when we're calling him up from the Agora to figure out who's responsible for certain expenses, he's at the Jigsaw cooking. And he's like, oh no, I don't know. I'm in charge of the clams. Hangs up the phone. Or the pierogies or some shit.
It's funny you say.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? This coward ass. I was like, fuck that. He doesn't get a portion of the show then. Me and Chris did the work, you know? Like
I did. I was working during that time. I was opening up the Agora kitchen.
Oh yeah, when you guys were doing the kitchen,
show,
yeah.
Right? And that is the show that I quit on because we had our rider and all whatever. There was so much money that we had to spend on food for all of the deals and stuff like that for the riders, and it was catered food and shit. And he put me off for like 2 weeks. He started his damn out of nowhere. He's like, dude, we can start doing clam bakes. I'm on it. No goddamn inventory because it's going to 3 different fucking places. He was like, yeah, it's gonna be great. There'd be no control. There'd be no management over this shit.
Yeah.
So you just have like stuff boiling there. And people it'd be a free for all. I'm his kitchen manager, and he sends me out to the Agora. So I'm trying to get it all together. Like, Phil, I need money. Finally, the day before, I'm like, Phil, if you don't give me money right now, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out. I'm not working the kitchen that day. Gives me $80 fucking $80
$80 for a show of drawing 1,700, 1,800
exactly,
people.
Yeah, we had like $2,500 I think was the minimum that we were supposed to spend on food. And I was like, I just left. I'm like, I'm fucking done. I quit. He's like, you're on to do the show. So I'm like, no, I quit the Jigsaw. I'm done, dude. He's begging me to come back. He's like, he'll be better, but I'm like, I'm just doing this. I'm back at the Jigsaw. No more hi-fi. No more fucking Agora. And that was it. It was a nightmare.
You know, and I think the city still hasn't recovered for the damage he did. Like, he came in and gave everybody herpes and left.
It was. I mean,
like, we're all still dealing with it every couple months. You know what I mean?
It's still, dude, we had something going on. I mean, there was the Revolution first. There was... there was the Red Eye before that, really. Then the Revolution, then the Jigsaw, where we had a scene in south of Cleveland. There was a separate thing. There was somewhere else to go. There was Lakewood. It became a new region, and it was pretty strong for a while. And I know, I guess, with the Jigsaw, we had our moments of time where it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I like to think from what we were doing, that's kind of where Now It's Class and Spitfire kind of popped up and started doing things, a little bit like that. And it just fell apart, and now you see there's nothing. They keep changing the name of that fucking place so people don't know it's the same management.
It's still the same.
And I will say, Jim Lapucci's booking bands there, and I got a text from him the other day, like, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking teeth and break your fucking teeth. Talking shit about my club. And I kind of forgot he does it. He tries. Yeah. But it's not against him. Yeah. But it's just because he's there trying doesn't mean the other people aren't shit.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I had somebody come up to me at the Unified show last night, and I mean, this is the first time in 8 years that Old School Mushroom has done at Peabody's. In 8 years, And he just goes, he starts giving me crap about it. And I was just like, and this is a guy that's worked at the old Peabody's that I really respect. And I don't want to say his name or anything, but I really look up to this guy. He's always been, I've known him since I was 15. And I go, dude, it's not the club, it's the leader. It's the leader. Go talk to him, and he'll tell you about how much he's trying to ruin my career as a promoter and stuff like that.
These guys are afraid. And like I said, I've come out against promoters, and what I mean by that are people that don't give a shit about the music or know about the music. They're basically been door guys for a little while that talk club owners into letting them book shows because they get a contact with the band that they can bring in.
Or they see easy money.
Right. There are people that are trying to do things right. That are people that have been in bands that care, that have something vested in it, not in just the show. Yeah. What you're doing, this is your life. You put your reputation behind what you've done for the last.
This is my job too.
Right. Your job, you make your money.
Yeah. I mean, this is such an undertaking. I couldn't hold. I had to leave my job and stuff like that. I couldn't hold it down.
Right.
Because I mean, it's full time doing this stuff.
So there's no bullshit with you, and you're trying to make something better out of it. But a lot of these people are going to be afraid. Yeah. Because they're not. And they know that if there's another option to where you can go with somebody and be treated well and not deal with, you're not going to after a while. Yeah. People are used to programmed to going to Peabody's and just getting whatever's put in their mouth. They're programmed to go to the Improv and Hilarities. Yeah. They're programmed to listen to Clear Channel. Yeah. People are starting to realize
because Cleveland's such a small city, right? So and now that people are starting to realize, hey, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. And it's easy to get out though. Once they have their eyes open, they realize that there is this big underground thing that's there waiting for them to get into and be a part of.
I mean, that's why you kind of see. I mean, hip hop's the biggest drawing thing in Cleveland right now. Hip hop. It's hip hop and dubstep. It's not metal and punk and hardcore. It might not be our cup of tea, but the teenagers now, 16 to 22. They're not going to metal shows. They're going to those dubstep shows. Right. They want to feel like they're in a future. You know what I mean? And then that's what they're going towards. And it's literally it was an underground thing. The kids.
You don't hear that played on the radio or anything.
No, you start to see it filter into commercials, but it's all like the Skrillex thing.
Right.
But there's a gigantic underground scene of just dudes playing their laptop. You know what I mean? And it's. I like a lot of electronic music, so I get it and respect it, but it definitely killed metal.
I don't trust it. Those are signals.
Those are signals.
They're turning appliances against us at any moment.
Yeah. Reptoid overlords coming.
Listen to dubstep if you want to destroy our civilization as a whole.
It's like whatever they're putting in our milk, they're putting in the dubstep.
Exactly.
What can we put in the music to get kids to fuck earlier? Let's procreate more. Yeah, it's just let's be a slut and fuck music, which I can't complain about, we had.
Makes it easier for me.
I guess we had Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails when we were younger to watch chicks take off their clothes.
Well, other than maybe JC, the rest of us are too old and creepy to get into those. We'll get throw it out right away.
I mean, I'm about to be 29, and I've been to a few of those, and I feel old and creepy. I'll have to wear a bandana or goggles to cover my hairline and stuff like that, and I'm just I'm standing there and it's just yeah, you want to do some Molly with me? And I'm like, can I see your ID? Is it okay if I take you back to my home? Will your father be looking at you in a couple hours? Look for you.
Exactly.
Like, I need to know.
Have a train spotting moment.
Because you can't tell anymore. You just can't tell. 16 to 23 is the same thing.
I've got a 14-year-old kid, and all these fucking kids that use the bar look like her, and
it just ruins it for you.
I have to fuck older bitches.
You see hot girl like, ah!
No, I saw a girl at the UNITE CLE Tavern the other night. It looked exactly like my 12-year-old niece, and I'm like, I'm going home.
Jimmy sure cannot go pick up ladies anymore.
No, I have to pick up cougars now, just so I feel safe.
That's
seasoned vets.
No rookies for Jeremy.
No, I don't even know what they're doing anyway. So.
No, it's just I've actually broken a rule I've had for years. It's been so hot this summer. I actually went to one of the local pools on 2 occasions during the day.
A Parma pool.
You have to find a corner literally and stare to where the one spot where there's nothing, because all around there's girls and they're rocking, but it's like. I don't know how old they are, and I can't look like.
Yeah.
And I just want to get cool. I don't want to be arrested for being a sex offender.
They really push girls to challenge us adults in being having morals and stuff like that.
It's like a rape challenge.
Yeah, it's like it's like man, I want to be a good person here. Like, stop it. Like
quit making me rape you.
Yeah. It's like really like when we were kids and the ice cream truck went by and you heard the music and you went running towards it. That's how I feel whenever I see half of those girls. They're like ice cream trucks. It's like I'll look like an idiot going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll look like an ass.
With that said, we're gonna take a break for just
Unite CLE, Unite Perverts.
Cleveland. More of the difference are the similarities between young girls and ice cream.
Yeah, Unite in Cleveland.
All right. We'll be back in a minute. Tustin Cleveland, Nick Wolf, Def Jeff, Jeremy Shearer here with us, and JC Koszewski, and we're talking to you about the United CLE, and picking up young girls and getting ice cream and all sorts of other stuff.
And Jake the Snake.
We're going to get into that to a minute. I want to get through the show here, but then I want to talk some wrestling. So I see August 25th is like kind of your more hardcore show.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
It's the Legends.
Yeah, it's the I mean, considered as old school mushroom. It's the old school day. You know what I mean?
And what members like constitute the old mushroom? Just so everyone. I mean, obviously, Hatrix is Gravy coming.
No, Gravy and Pig aren't doing the show. I mean, I mean, the offer's out there for both of them to do it, but I think that it's still too soon. Too soon, Cleveland. I think there's a lot of sometimes adults need to be away from each other for a while to get over some things, and then I think that's what's happening. But we do have J-Man, Roxy, Bronson, and Lil Dan.
Okay,
so
all right, cool.
Those are,
and obviously JJ and all.
Yeah. There's going to be a special tribute to JJ during the set too. Okay. That's. It's something that I can talk about here, but I'm not going to like make flyers or
right. Exactly.
I'm not going to blow that out of proportion. But we are doing a tribute to him on the show, and which would be cool. The whole band in gas masks and then the welder's mask. I mean, there's literally 12 people in welder's mask and playing Elevation or something.
So it's just going to be that's cool.
Like we wanted to do that because we actually were talking about doing a whole night for JJ. But with Mushroom Head's schedule and how much shit that goes into creating that, how much you have to go through just to get a small Mushroom Head show, but doing a benefit for someone or a tribute show, it's really a lot of there's just too much other stuff to worry about right now.
Right, exactly. Going on.
But we got Face Value, Kung Fu Grip, which was a mid-90s,
right,
late 90s
I remember
staple.
them from the Mosh line.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you for calling the Mosh line.
All things Mosh. Dude, that's why I'm looking at this, and that is cool thing, because a lot of these names I do remember from those days.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, like, such a great classic thing that, like, the Mosh line, we had a phone number that you could call up, and some dude's answering machine that he'd give you all the shows that were going on in the week. Fucking great.
Yeah, I miss the Mosh Tongue. He was a good dude.
And then, Face Value, like, I love, but there's too many Parma guys in Face Value now.
Yeah.
Justin Haberer
and
from
Steve Callahan.
And Steve Callahan from Radio Silence and Single 30.
Yeah.
And, of course, Aaron Dowell from the Nick Wolf Band and other bands. But sometimes in the Nick Wolf Band, always begrudgingly. But that's going to be exciting. Obviously, Urba running his mouth in front of everybody is always a great time.
Yeah.
The Spuds... Which, fuck, man.
Yeah.
I remember I've seen him a couple of times. The first time I saw Spuds just being so blown away by just me and Foose as an entertainer on stage.
Yeah.
Probably changed the way I looked at it. Like, a lot of people talk about when they saw Iggy Pop for the first time or this.
Yeah.
I didn't see those guys live for the first time.
Yeah, we had Jason Popson and DeWitt and Foose and all those guys.
Those were the big guys, yeah.
Yeah, those were the guys that, you went and saw them. They're like, this is what I want to do with my life.
Right, exactly.
Like, I saw the Spuds close Flashes the last
Oh, wow.
I was 13. That was sick.
That's what, I missed out on the whole Flashes thing.
They ended up playing naked, though. Don had like a potato sack on.
Oh, that was Wild Don days, yeah. That wasn't Christian Don.
Before Baka Don.
Yeah, that was before Moment of Truth.
People were literally just ripping shit off the walls and just taking anything that was there.
That's awesome.
Is it like it's Municipal Stadium in the last Browns game? But just a pure physicality of him blew me away. So it's gonna be great. I mean, they're a classic. I remember, what was it? Inner Sanctum.
Yeah.
That was like one of, they played a lot of crap.
Yeah.
But they play Spud Monsters every once in a while.
You get an Isolation or a Garbage Day or something like that.
Exactly.
It's always like.
And you look like, I hope there'd be something cool.
And I think the last time Mushroom Head and Spuds played together was like 94 or 95, I want to say. So this is the first time in 17 years that these bands are coming together. And it's not, that was why we wanted, like, because if it was a new school, if it was the normal Mushroom Head show that is always sold, I would have separated the days.
Right.
Spuds one, much to the next, but because it's old school Mushroom Head and the Spud Monsters, it's just like that's the memory.
I think that's kind of seems like the vibe you're going for.
Yeah.
That encompasses it all right there. Those two bands.
And then Sunday we're doing all hip hop all day. Yes, Sunday is headlined by Iphonic and 10,000 Cadillacs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, which 10,000 Cadillacs is Jason, J-Man, and Skinny from Mushroom Head. They just wrote a new record, and it's got like it sounds so like current hip hop, but then there's a lot of like like what you got, like when you listen to Bone Thugs growing up, and that soul, that
Right.
Bone Thugs and Integrity. I like to compare them to the same because they sounded like Cleveland.
Yeah.
Right,
They
right.
sounded like the music. You hear it, and you're like, I drive down that street. I know what that feels like.
Right, it's really visceral as far
Two
as
different
you feel, right.
genres and people completely, but 10,000 Cadillacs is definitely like they're back, and it's really a really good project. They have a singer rapper named Just Mike that joined them, and he's like one of the best in Cleveland as far as that. Like he might be bigger than Cleveland. That's how good he is.
No
He's just
shit.
waiting to be discovered.
So definitely, I mean,
Yeah.
so you got everything every night. The one thing I'd say also, there, the UNITE CLE punk show will be Monday at the Symposium. It's all done. We get Monday evening between 6 and 8.
Yeah, and we to talk about we brushed over the Missing thing, but the Missing and Battlestar are Saturday night at the Beachland, so they're the East Side version of the UNITE CLE. So they're actually separated from the whole block.
Well, yeah, I saw them on the thing. They're not okay.
They're a part of UNITE CLE, but Chris just really wanted to have his show at the Beachland. So
White Gold is coming out. Okay?
Yeah, White Gold.
Well,
and,
you guys are just gonna smudge the White Gold.
Yeah, it's just like
with all these legends of the city.
Yeah,
not good enough for the Missing.
And I love Chris and I love the Missing to death. But when I was like, you really want to play same time as Spuds and Old School Mushroom Man? It's like, yeah, bro. I was like, dude, I love your confidence, man.
Hey.
Like, hey, it's cool. I'd love to have Battlestar on my show.
It's the first time I ever met them. I knew Elliot from Space Goblin. They did a Battle of Bands at the Jigsaw, but it was actually like a legit thing,
Yeah.
Well, I think Phil probably didn't pay anyone shit.
It was actually a legit
But
thing.
it was like me, Tom Schaffner, and
based on-
Simmons were the judges, so at least we were wasted the whole time. That's how we ended up with Space Goblin winning it. But so I did that. One of my first stand-up shows I did was at Peabody's, and I'm hanging out with these guys beforehand, and I watched the Missing play for a minute, but I get up on stage first thing I said, like, something like, thanks to the Missing, the one thing they're missing is talent and good songs and songwriting and blah, blah, just rip them apart. And they're standing there just like, mortified.
Yeah, because you're a comedian, you're supposed to do that.
I'm like, dude, I know we were cool a minute ago, but do you think I wasn't going to, like, sorry, this is what happens when
you gotta
to me.
Yeah, when you put comedy and music together, you're supposed to like lighten up the mood and stuff and do that stuff.
Musicians, we're very sensitive as a whole.
I get in trouble all the time for making jokes on stage. I have to watch myself. That was always a problem when I was running wrestling shows. I would be out there just spitballing and making jokes. People are cracking up, but I'm not sticking to the storyline. I'm not sticking to promos. I'm feeling it, making people laugh. So it's like, might have offended a couple wrestlers in the process, but hey,
Breaking kayfabe, just get a couple quick
laughs. I've done that a few times.
So-and-so beats their wife.
So yeah, and I do want it. So we got the show is UNITE CLE.
Yeah, you get tickets through ticketweb.com or any of the 200 performers,
Right.
I think between the hip hop day and all the bands, we have over 200 bands and people. So you think about it, 80 bands equals probably 180 hip hop people. Is hip hop
exactly.
one or two guys?
There's like one guy,
So
five guys just holding mic going, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we have so many performances in a weekend, and this is the first year doing it, and it's going to be great, but if this really goes off with the way we all plan, and I think what everybody's feeling is that, next year and the year after, we can really grow this into something, and make it something where, I can start including the Winchester and the Jazz Bar down the street, and now it's Class and Spitfire, and like literally using that whole block.
That would be great, and just destroying that stupid Cleveland Music Festival.
I can't.
Not to start any shit for you.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't need Dan calling.
That's my goal, not JC's goal.
Yeah.
Okay? I am Nick Wolf. I have nothing to do with.
I can't have Dan call me up and going, "Hey, buddy,"
Well, just the fact that he hears if you're on this show, he's going to give you.
Yeah.
Oh, you did that on the Nick Wolf show? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell him that I got a spam email on my MySpace from him. Yeah, I mean, like Nick Wolf sent me something from Fisting Productions, and he told me that if I won the first round, I could play the main stage at Peabody's. That I can say to Dan's face,
That guy's gonna kill me one day.
Yeah.
If I end up missing or dead at any point, Please investigate Dan Gall.
No, he doesn't care. I mean, I think I like. There's a part of me that still like really likes him because he was my friend at like one point. I still, when I'm talking to me and him, it's like, yeah, it's that we still got along.
When you got, like when you have a buddy that ends up being a rapist, it's like he still was your buddy you grew up with.
If you watch any American Pie movies, he's Stifler, but he's Stifler in real life. They couldn't stand how much of a shithead he was, but he was still a good dude at heart. At some levels, I can't. It's real rough saying Dan's a good dude with all the bad stuff he'd done, but I do know that his confidence in him, even if you see Magazine could do a smear campaign and do such a brutally honest article, and he's still just like, fuck it, I'm not giving up. Like, I gotta give him.
Shameless as fuck.
Yeah, perseverance and shameless.
Yeah.
Like
I've been waiting for him to go. I mean, there's been times I remember at the Jigsaw, I was like sitting there drinking a beer, and he walks up to me and Tim was like, "Hey Nick, how you doing, buddy? Funny stuff." I was like, and he knew like that he was just being like, "Fuck it," like. Yeah, like, does this dude know that I just tear on this damn concept?
Yeah.
He knew, like, and that's like personally, I see what he does. I hate him.
On a professional level, I did have to work for him for like 6 years, so I had to do some things and see some things that morally, as a musician, I never liked, and I never really was a fan of. And when I was working there as a promoter and I'd be going to these other cities and running these battles and seeing these everybody's hearts breaking and stuff like that. I just couldn't do it. I stopped working there and I came back as a graphic designer, so I can still promote on my own. And it got to the point where like I was promoting Halloween Mushroom Head shows and wrestling shows as a graphic designer working. I wasn't working for them as a promoter. I wasn't no contract. They fired me because I wasn't cutting them in on my money.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I was like, excuse me, like I'm getting fired over. What is this, a shakedown? Is this a mafia? No, this is music business. You know what I mean? I earned everything, and I worked my ass off for this shit. It's UNITE CLE, all these other promoters, anybody wants to stand in my way, I earned every
right. But that's
stuff.
the thing, and
15 years of hard work. Yeah,
I'm against all the bullshit in this fucking city, and the reason I really want to, Joe, get you on before this so we can talk about the show is that I feel that you're somebody in this business that is vested, been around for a while. You're not going anywhere. You've done your shit. People know you for your band, from wrestling, everything else. Your reputation speaks for yourself, and you're the kind of people that we need to get being proactive. I love Stosh from the Spitfire.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's very proactive. Jeremy, I'm seeing that about you, and a lot of guys that you do your stuff with are very proactive about taking the lead of things. I tried to do it for a while, but it fucking fell as shit.
I mean, off the air we were talking about it's starting to become something. You're starting to see like a wave, like a storm being brewed, where it's like, because it's like, this is our life, this is our passion,
and we want to stay here.
Exactly. We don't want to move to California or New York.
Like, because I go through it in my head all the time. Do I move? You know what I mean? It worked for LeBron, it worked for Dwid. Do I move? Like, do I try it? Like Manson, Trent, all those people that came from Cleveland had to leave here to become something.
And it sometimes it seems that way, but like I said, I just like to think that now with the way the industry is, it's not centered in two cities anymore with the internet and stuff, and we don't have to do that anymore.
No, the content creators are going to get noticed by their audience now. You just have to make the content and make the effort.
Like Tough Scene Cleveland on Facebook.
And there's all the podcasts. Like I just did, like I said, HelloCleveland.com, and I was just like, knowing that there's like more underground work, and essentially this is a festival of the underground.
It is, what I mean?
Like I don't have the Black Keys on it or MGK.
These are all bands that made their ways that you could have seen at the Fantasy or Peabody's or the Euclid Tavern.
I would have to say Mushroom Head and Iphonic are pretty much the most mainstream of the bands playing, and they're all still underground. You know what I mean?
Mushroom Head's still known in Cleveland, and even when they were on Universal, they were Cleveland.
They were Cleveland, Like they're still such a Cleveland band.
So I want to talk for a little bit. One thing I've been really out of the independent wrestling loop. And I kind of started getting back into. I love pro wrestling. I love more watching shoots lately and like old shit. I don't watch like WWE really that much, but I've been noticing lately.
Would it be so much?
I can't see. I just hear music. I don't see anything.
I would love him so much more if he wasn't a wigger. It's like 2012, and wiggers are okay.
I watched him come up, and he played this like Triple H type character out in Cali as
prototype.
Well, even if he was the same character, if he wore tights and dressed like a wrestler, did everything exactly, I would be able to accept it more.
I mean, he's great in all the aspects of microphone and person and just everything.
Him and and Punk being the anti that, and like I'm liking that. It's just it's just a lot of Vince McMahon going like, what do kids like these days? They still like these kids still like Jurassic Park, huh?
Give me a fat heat.
Like these kids still like funk music. He's like, yeah. Let's do a dancing Funkasaurus. Yeah. What is Akeem still wrestling? No. Brodus Clay, get over here. They're like, oh, it didn't work, And they said, remember they debuted Tensai, and it was like it would have worked. All those gimmicks are great '90s gimmicks because Vince McMahon's still creating them, and he's an old man that has no. He's out of touch with He's trying to appeal to children, and he has no touch with it at all. You know what I mean? Like,
and the guys that are big kind of created those for like Mysterio. I mean, Mysterio's always been Mysterio. Vince had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But I've been noticing a lot more. I've been trying to get out there with the independent wrestling. Obviously, I know Jason Bane, so I'm pretty good friends with, and Sassy Steph, I was in my graduating class. There's really something kind of...
Sassy Steph was my only undefeated wrestler.
Really?
Yeah, she's the only wrestler.
Wow, she's your Goldberg.
She's my Goldberg. And we made that joke, we didn't realize it until, like, I started rallying shows in October to take on all this stuff. And we were making the joke because we were eventually we were going to do a hot Goldberg gimmick and start doing da-da-da and and stuff. And then having her start run through cruiserweights and shit like that. But when it got to, like, a bigger guy, she'd just peace out and then her bodyguard would go in there and stuff. Like, we were going to do shit like that with her, but yeah, I miss Stephanie. She's a good talent.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's definitely one of those people that is very into pushing what they're doing, and it definitely lets everyone know.
She's the real. Yeah.
Holds court at school.
Yeah.
And everyone knows when she's playing a gig and what's going on with her at all times.
And she's all over the country every weekend too. You know what I mean? Like,
I was always amazed. Like, how do you do all this shit, like the schedule we're keeping, and then you're going out of town and working Saturday, Sunday, and
and she's working like the job she's going to 6 a.m. for and stuff like that, and I really love her passion, it blew my mind. And like I knew her when she was a skinny girl before she got the surgery. Like she was like literally that nerdy little wrestling girl. You know what I mean?
5 points off every test I had because of her cans. Very focused on anything.
I mean, and I got to see her blossom into this amazing independent women's wrestler. And you see more in independence now. The women wrestling is getting bigger because people are getting bored of the dude
And I'm
stuff,
shocked she's talking about all these different promotions and stuff that are just women's promotions.
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
It's very cool to see.
Well, it came off like as more or less like a perverted thing for a while, and then like now you have, because of the Sarah Del Rey's and the Jessica Havoc's and the Sassy's, you have these girls that want to wrestle. They want to be wrestlers.
There aren't these Playboy playmates that are in the Fed. They're actually women that are trying to wrestle.
To like fucking trade tapes over in Japan to get good women's wrestling. Now you can see it around here. It's really cool.
And AIW, they do the girls' nights out 2 or 3 times a year, and like I think that when when I left AIW and they started doing girls' night out, I was like, oh, they're just trying to get the boner money in there, and then I started seeing the matches they're putting together. They just did like a girls' cage match 2 weeks ago in a pink cage. And I'm like, those little things are the things that that's what they want to see.
Right,
just that little difference, you know what I mean? That little originality.
Right.
I think Stephanie just did a all-girls War Games recently.
Yeah, that's true. She was talking about that.
And she was I did a War Games match at the Fantasy a couple years ago, and she managed the main bad guy in the match, and she was involved with it, but I got to see pictures from the girl War Games, and I'm like, that's so... like, you wouldn't see that back in the NWA when War Games was the thing.
Right.
It was like, oh, I hope one day women are doing this. You know what I mean?
Dusty Rhodes was like, one day... Here, brother, one day there'll be women in there.
You really think Hawk and Animal
were don't get pretty at me, but...
you think Tully Blanchard and Hawk and Animal were like, I hope one day women are doing this.
We were sitting around for one day, Sassy Steph and Jessica Havoc.
They're looking at... Nancy Benoit going, one day women that look like you are going to be doing this, and you'll be dead.
You'll flip back around
and you'll be dead. I still don't think Chris Benoit killed his family.
No,
I get mad. People get mad.
You think OJ did it too? Because that's my personal.
I always like.
A black guy. Either OJ or a black guy.
I just don't see it. I just never.
Can't.
I was like, it's. it's better. It would have been better off if it was kept hush hush. You know what I mean? If it.
Yeah, but something like that.
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I think he did it. I think he beat his wife. She no-sold him, and then that was it.
Hey, listen, you can't pull that shit in the room with Benoit. Okay, he's the real deal.
The only thing funny is that he had his kid. I mean, it's not funny, but the funny.
There's no funny parts of it.
There's no funny. It's that the fact that the kid was on droids too.
Well, he doesn't even feel.
The kid that died was all roided up.
I've been doing this show for 11 episodes now. Jay-Z's gonna get me kicked off the internet.
The roided up kid. Like his dad comes home from taping and stuff on a Wednesday, and Nancy comes in the kitchen. You know what your son did at school today? He got roided up and beat up some guy. And he goes into the kids, just like lifting weights and shit like that. The kid just looks like Jim Hellwig. It's just the ultimate warrior. Like gets the back.
He's like shaking.
Yeah, shaking the things. Like your kids steroids. Give him some sugar. Let him run around, man.
That is a very interesting take on the Benoit.
No one acknowledged the fact that he's jacking up his kid. Right. Like that's the craziest part. I mean, you can't be crazy to kill your family and yourself, but the fact that you were like, I'm gonna put my kids on roids. This kid's a wimp.
Right.
Like
you pussy. He likes your physique.
I mean, both of my brothers. One of my brother went and fought in Iraq, and the other one's in Afghanistan right now. I'm the girl. I'm the pussy in the family. Right. And my dad never was like, do steroids. You know, he did shove creatine on me a couple times. And when I wanted to go,
use a bulk. You know,
I was like, Dad, you pay for singing lessons. He's like, yeah, you're a fag. You know, like,
you're your dad's gay son.
Yeah. Oh man, I went to Gay Pride a couple years ago because one of my friends was playing it, and I just have to. This is something new. I got to see this. This is ridiculous. I got drunk and went, but they told my dad.
Last time one of our guests got drunk and went to a Gay Pride thing, didn't work out good.
Oh really? That's hilarious.
That's too soon.
More people.
Too soon, Cleveland.
I did just listen. I was just very heartfelt a minute ago.
But my dad, you know, he's a biker, and my brothers are, you know, American soldiers, and they're like, he's like, where's Jed? And they're like, he's at the Gay Pride parade. And my dad they didn't tell him that I went there to see, like, I meet up with some friends and see some shit. They just told me I went to come out, and he starts going, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. He starts chain smoking, and they're inside laughing, and he's just like, he opens the door, he's at the fucking tell Grandpa, and shuts it and leaves. And I have to come home and call him up, and while he's shit-faced, I'm shit-faced. I'm like, Dad, I still love pussy. I was down there hoping that those dude-looking lesbian teams would just want to like play basketball with me. You know, that's what I was down there to hit on. You know. Like,
Dad, don't worry.
Don't worry, man. I went there more or less to laugh. You know what I mean?
I'm just a creep. I'm not gay.
Yeah. It was more or less to be a creep. It was like going to Fat Tuesday in New Orleans, just at Edgewater. Right. I went to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. It was exactly the same thing. It was the same thing, just at Edgewater.
Less water.
Yeah, less water. Yeah, and the cool thing is I realized that there's a whole black gay community. They had their own corner, and they were like the best dressed people. All the white people that are gay are like either they look like girls or they're really ugly. These people have the nicest clothing. They all they're walking around like this. I'm like, look at Outcast over here. The whole corner of it. Like, so that's what we realized. So the Cleveland music scene, you know,
are segregated from the white gays?
they had their own area.
Do they have different glory holes, like white glory hole and black glory hole?
Yes, it's measured. You have to measure it out.
Right, of course, black's always like, 18 inches in diameter.
Is it like how the urinals for little kid urinals are lower? The white ones are the lower ones, the black ones are the taller ones?
Yep. If you can fit your fist through it, it's not for you.
Oh, Tough Shit Cleveland, this is turning into
the most offensive episode ever. We're here to talk about Cleveland music and pro wrestling.
Right. We're going to take one more break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to talk about wrestling. I do want to talk about Jake the Snake and some other things.
It's always fun to talk about Jake the Snake.
And I'm sure we'll get into more awful stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll
Every
be back
break
in 1
ends
minute.
on the offensive.
That's how we know it's time for break.
Exactly. Tough Shit Cleveland, we were back. We were off the air, but we started talking about something I thought should be on the air. So you were talking about working at the gay pride festivals.
Yeah.
And the chicks, like, they're not hardcore lesbians making out. They're just like, chicks are for the weekend.
Weekend warrior lesbians, right. Yeah. They're the ringwormer lesbians.
Hey, you want to make out?
None of them actually look like the human furnace, too.
Like, you're there and you're watching these girls and you're like, turn on, like, yeah, cool, lesbian. But it takes about 5 minutes for any guy to start getting really goddamn pissed.
Yeah.
Like, it goes from hotness to rage. Like, yeah, fuck those. Like, I hope they get ran over in a car and their heads fucking. Like, you know, it's a fine line between having a hard on and wanting to murder.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and I mean,
come on.
And you know, they all look all great in their, you know, soccer jerseys and stuff like that. You know, like,
and they all wear the white headband.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like, it's always a bummer. It really
polo
is.
and baggy jeans set.
Yeah, it's like, man, like, what would you look like in a bikini? Like, just do that. You can still do what you're doing.
Right.
Just dress like a chick. Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're killing me here. You know, all these chicks look like LaRue. You know, like.
So you know, listen, women at gay festivals, you can look a little hotter, okay?
So back to female pro wrestling. That's where this all started. Like,
it's a natural flow, a natural aggression. In
there is, and nobody's done that gimmick in pro wrestling. So if you're a female wrestler out there,
the lesbian.
The lesbian. No one's done like the soccer hooligan looking.
Right,
you know,
that's true.
Nobody's done that.
And there was Ivory. She was pretty.
Ivory, and then did it? Mickey James did the Obsession one, but that was still hot.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? There is a.
It's Vince McMahon rating it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see like you know, Eve shave her head and start, you know.
Right, like a hardcore dyke. Sassy Steph, if you're listening, hey, maybe that's your ticket to TNA.
Well, wasn't that like Dump Masamuto and Bull Nakano's gimmick kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they had the look perfectly. Yeah. That's what I think when a game like of lesbians. I think like
Bull Nakano,
like 100 Bull Nakanos scissoring each other.
Yeah, I think Aja Kong that's still my favorite women's wrestler of all time.
Well, if they were scissoring, it looks like the figure 4 leg lock.
So you've been doing pro wrestling for a long time
2005.
2005, and that was with the Absolute Intensive first.
Yes, yeah.
And now you're doing Firestorm, although you've taken up.
Yeah. Well, Firestorm, I did Firestorm like hardcore from 2007 to about 2010. And I was running it with Ray Rowe, who is one of the top baby faces for us, and he got a job offer in Texas, so we moved down there. And it just, you know, when I was doing so much just to keep it alive, and like, you know, none of it, like, everybody on the DIY level, none of us have offices with staffs.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're all doing this ourselves and bartering and begging to help just keep it afloat. And I had to make the choice between music and wrestling at a certain point. And when JT died, like I promoted the JT Memorial Show at the Fantasy Theater with AIW, which I left. You know, so it was like a culmination, and like I was like, you know what, this is a good time for me to take a break. So the only thing I plan now, I think I'm doing a TNA show next year. Like I still do TNA every couple of years, and then, you know, once my record's out, and, you know, if I can figure out a way to do Unite CLE and pro wrestling, I might come back. You know, but it's so hard to do as one person.
Yeah, it's got to be a tough thing because you're not a whole group. You're the promoter. You're responsible for everything.
And you're working with these people these talented performers that are going in there and killing their bodies for, you know, $20 to $50.
Right.
Yeah. So realistically, as a promoter, you don't have much power. You know, like everybody's just kind of doing their own thing, and nobody's put like all these wrestlers. They're like local bands. They want to wrestle every weekend, so they'll play everywhere at 20 minutes from each other every weekend. And it's like there's no value.
TV, you want to develop other things with your promotion, and you can't because these guys are basically they're not.
They can't develop shit with that crappy show on STO, like with Prime Wrestling Ohio or whatever they're fucking called, you know. And I have a lot of my friends wrestle on that show, but if they're listening, you're doing it just so you can tell your friends you're on TV.
Right.
Big fucking deal. You look like an idiot. Yeah. Like talented Jason Baines on there, M-Dog 20. Like, dude, these are guys that are great workers.
Gargano doesn't.
Gargano, yeah. And you know. There was a big controversy with his stepfather and stuff like that, which I really shouldn't be talking about on the air. You know, I'll tell you off there. And it was so bad that the fact that all those people still wrestle for that company says a lot about what they're in it for.
Right. There's no. And that's why I look at bands that play like, you know, the Peabody shit that just take whatever given to them.
Yeah, and like
you gotta just.
Dude, my Unite CLE. I mean, 6 of the bands just played Peabody for free on August 4th. And I'm like, and then everybody gets mad at me for getting mad. I'm like, Peabody's is killing the scene with free shows. We're Peabody's. We can't get people to sell tickets to play our room for the fucking 80th time. So we're going to do Shit Fest on 3 stages and make it free. And they do them every month.
Right, exactly. And it's not even special. And I don't know people, like, they go there, like,
how can you charge for your band if you're the best band in Cleveland? How can you put any value behind it if you're playing?
You played in front of 300 people and you got nothing out of it somehow. Good luck, congratulations, you did something that I didn't think was possible.
Yeah, like.
Find my mailing list.
And when we were younger and they started doing those free shows, they were drawing a lot more.
Right.
You know, now everybody's onto the scam. You know, it's like there's no new gimmicks, there's no more scamming. Everybody in Cleveland has gone to Peabody's, gotten kicked out of Peabody's, knows a guy in a band that's played a festival. Right now is the time for all of us to get together and do it right. You know what I mean? Like.
And that's United CLE, Unite CLE, August 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Fantasy Complex. Tickets are, what were the main?
Ticketweb.com.
Ticketweb.com, and obviously the bands there. Listen, anyone listening, you're going to have a link to one of the bands.
Yeah, everybody.
You've heard about this.
You should know somebody on the show if you're a Clevelander. But yeah, I mean, the independent wrestling scene, it's also, too, like, you know, the best wrestling shows aren't drawing more than 200 people. They're drawing 100 to 120.
Right, and it's always seemed tough because wrestling doesn't have the built-in thing that, like, bands do, to where we'll always be able to get some sort of core audience in bands because people are always going to want to go out and hear music.
Yeah.
Wrestling, you really, and comedy, too, you have to be into it. It has to be what you specifically want to.
It's very similar to comedy. It's like I've seen the same thing, and it's like in Cleveland there's a lot of talented people trying to make it in both of those worlds. But I always said that there should be the athletic commission should make it a fine to start your own wrestling fed.
Right.
Like you have to pay $10,000 down, and you get it back when you fold or something like that.
You have a license.
You have to have a license, but it doesn't cost that. You know, no one's got to put all that up.
Right.
Like people should like.
There's nothing to lose.
Like literally, you could drive between here to Cincinnati or here to Pittsburgh, and every 45 minutes is a wrestling fed.
There's two down in Alliance, and one of them was. I was at a show with 35 people.
Yeah, well, MCW from Alliance does pretty good, but those guys run every 2 weeks. Like, you know, they do good on their like baseball shows. They do like big like base brawls. They're always called. I never did one in Firestorm ANW, but I always thought base brawls are funny because it's so WCW. Like, we're gonna put the rig in the outfield and drive everybody to the ring. That's what they do, and it's like. You know,
unless it's the Von Erichs coming out against the Freebirds, or Hogan versus Andre the Giant and shit.
That's only a match made in heaven, I guess.
So as far as you've obviously dealt with some classic wrestlers, you know, and it's kind of when you play in bands like. And even as comedians, we've all seen people. I think when you're an entertainer, one of the first things you realize is you're going to see people you looked up to. And you're going to see them in a different light. And a lot of people you're going to have a different opinion about as you go on.
I have no interest in ever meeting Mike Patton.
Mike Patton?
Yeah, I mean, just from what I've had to do with famous wrestlers and famous rock stars, if he was my idol growing up, I don't want to meet him.
Right.
Unless he likes my music and wants to meet me. And that's where I'll leave it at, you know.
Right.
You know, unless I get the Dillinger Escape Plan rub, I don't care, because I don't want him to ruin it for me.
That's
you know what I mean?
Like, I've met, like, you know, Blag from the Dwarves, we played with them, and he was a douchebag pussy.
Yeah.
He was a bitch. Like, he was whining because I was smoking, doing drugs in the side room. And I'm like, dude, you're the Dwarves! You're Blag from the Dwarves!
Yeah.
What the fuck? So that, you know, it ruins it. Obviously, there was some big controversy. A couple of years ago, there was the Jake the Snake Roberts thing.
Ooh,
and you kind of got, unfortunately, caught up in the middle of that. You were, you know, you're a promoter, you're doing your show, and you get a name like that to bring in. You know, you bring in a name like that, and you hope that the guy's been around for so long he can be professional.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different stories, and I don't know how much you can go into with it, but can you kind of give a quick surmise of events?
I mean, like, in pro wrestling, there's so many stars. In independent pro wrestling, it's so hard to create the magic to draw and then be able to survive on it thereafter and keep it alive. That was the one show we had all the stars line. I just left AIW, started Firestorm. We spent 9 months doing a title tournament, building towards this wrestler, Michael Hutter, who went on to get signed to WWE the next week. You know, he's Derek Bateman now in WWE. Okay. We spent all these months building this big storyline and culminating at the Fantasy Theater, our first show there. The week Monday Night Raw is in town with Jake the Snake. We had everything in line. I have Jake the Snake on Rover in the morning, and basically me and Jake wanted to go right to the bar as soon as I picked him up the night beforehand. So we closed the bar, you know. And this is actually my 5th time booking him at this point, so we know each other well. You know, we're on a first name basis. We know about our personal lives a little bit. We can talk, and have a great night, driving to Rover the next day, and Rover's getting him drunk and talking about his past, and everybody knows about Jake the Snake's past. Pulled out some demons. I drop him off at the Clifton Diner. There's all those bars right there.
Right.
I went to go set up my show, and he's just bar hopping all day, you know. And we realized that when he got to the venue, he was pretty buzzed, and we just went. Dude, I mean, WrestleMania weekend, WrestleMania when it was in Detroit for 23 with AIW, we did a show right before the induction ceremony with Jake the Snake. He walks up to me at noon that day and opens up a handful of pills and goes, "Look what Bobby Heenan gave me on the airplane." And it's a handful of assorted white pills, and he's got a bottle of vodka, and he's like, "Want to do a toast? It's 12:30 in the afternoon." You know, and I'm looking around the locker room. There's Matt Morgan. There's all these famous wrestlers. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. You live once. And I do it with Jake the Snake. And, you know, I forget. And I'm out there doing my promo. And I'm fucking all high. And I'm like, oh, my God. Why'd I do that? But, like, you know, Jake, we drove him we drove him somewhere to buy one thing so we could turn something into another thing. Like, but we were kids. We never knew really what he was doing. He's just like, I need some baking soda.
To you guys, it's cool.
You know,
it's like, all right,
yeah, we'll drive you. Yeah, we're marks, you know. We're just whatever. So, you know, I knew about going into the situation he was going to be a drunk. You know what I mean? And I put him against JT Lightning because JT is he's a legend and a professional, a local legend. He can work with them, and people would want to see JT and Jake the Snake. You know, for a quick 7-minute main event, JT was the guy. As the night's going on, you know, we had 600 people in the room. You know, we did a thing with the Boy Scouts, so there was literally 200 inner city urban Boy Scouts there, and you know, the room was
yeah. I'm trying to think of some sort of racist dialect for that.
The entire show went smooth. When Hutter won the belt, the place went crazy. Like it was perfect. But throughout the night, Jake, as soon as we did the VIP opening, kids our age were buying him shots at the bar.
Right.
And I guess someone bet him he couldn't do an arm's length shot of vodka shots or something like that. And I have the picture of him with his arm. He's got he's got our arms put together, and he does all of them in a row. And we told him he had to go in the backstage and settle down. He starts doing vodka shooters out of his bag from the airplane. You know, we didn't even know he had those. He got thrown out of the Hi-Fi, the Symposium, and the nightclub, just going from bar to bar with his shirt off, drinking. And he then out of nowhere during the we had a 6-man match for the title. During that match, people are starting to come up to me, "Hey man, he's asking for an 8-ball," and I'm like, the fuck am I gonna get an 8-ball for Jake the Snake? And what? No, I'm not. I'm not doing that.
Shouldn't you be prepared and have an 8-ball?
Yeah, I know.
You're professional.
Yeah. You know, I didn't. But you know that I already booked New Jack. I know what that's like.
You've been through the drill before.
Yeah. You know, there's a reason it was booked at Peabody's.
Oh yeah.
Those who live in glass houses. But you know the Jake the Snake thing, like they're telling me that, and I'm on the phone with his manager, and I'm like, he wants this. She's like, well, can you get him? And I'm like, what? She's like, well, he could sober up and wrestle, and like, you know, I'm like, no, I'm not condoning any of this stuff. So then he comes out during there's like the last 3 guys are wrestling, comes out and grabs the mic and calls the main bad guy. His manager, who was literally like a Mark Henry sized black kid, who was my roommate at the time, calls him a nigger on the mic. He goes, "I'm gonna get you nigger in the ring tonight." Like he starts cutting the main event promo on the guy he's not even wrestling, a bodyguard. And dude, people are getting up and pissed. You know what I mean? So like eventually he caught like we still go like the biggest mistake I made. I look at JT and I was like, dude, you think you can go out there and work with him? And JT's like, I'll do my best. He goes, but if he goes to hurt me, I'm going home. And I was like, all right. So Jake the Snake comes out. I mean, you can see all the video on YouTube and TMZ and stuff, and falls into the ring and all this stuff. And you know, he's blatantly drunk. And when JT's actually trying to work a match with him, and he just like, well, you know that Ric Flair sells, and he walks a couple steps. The fall. Right. Jake the Snake naturally does that. And you see JT look around like is he unpunked? Like. That's irony because he's the punk guy, you know. And he just pins him, and Jake the Snake immediately thinks we're shooting on him. You know, we're Montreal screw jobbing him,
right? And
starts freaking out. And when the place starts yelling, "Where's the snake?" he whips his dick out. And there's like I have kids in the crowd. He's like, "Where's the snake?" He shows the snake. You know what I mean? And
and then you used some Damien there.
Yeah. Well, no, Earthquake killed Damien. Come on.
Cobra.
All right, then there was Lucifer after that.
Yeah. Sorry. that's it, Macho Man. You know, Macho Man actually took the bites.
Really?
Yeah. Jake the Snake told me. Yeah, he was like, yeah, he was a pro.
Hey.
He was like, give it, like.
He's a fucking maniac.
Yeah. How much you gonna pay me? Like, all right, let's do this. You know, it was the '90s. They're all numb, but you know, Jake the Snake. We're at that point. You know, we want to make sure everybody gets their money's worth at least, because people are starting to boo, and so Ray ends up sending J-Rock out. At this point, J-Rock was out of gear already, so J-Rock goes there, and like J-Rock, I can't say much about him as a man.
He was actually at the auditions with us, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, King,
yeah, I can't say much about him as a man, but he is a really good worker. You know, he's a good like he is his own demon, you know. But and it's a big reason I don't want to run wrestling anymore is because of people like him. But in the ring, it was phenomenal. So I know that even in street clothes, he can go out there and pull something off with Jake the Snake. And I put them together twice before. Jake starts swinging on him and stuff like that, and you know, Jerry's out there going, "Hey, just give me the DDT, just DDT me, just do it."
Right.
Like he's out there just trying to save the show, and you know, Jake just was in the business for himself, so Jerry rolls out, and like, you know, at this point, JT's just leaving, you know, and I got all these people booing, and you know, we start telling everybody to leave, and I'm like thinking in my head, I'm never gonna like
You're done.
I'm done, you know, this is I'm done. So as this is happening, I'm literally, because wrestlers are so mad it's happening, they're asking to get paid to go home. So I'm dealing with like having to pay my staff and my roster on top of Jake the Snake. At this point, starts running Detroit Road as the crowd's leaving, and just like
buddy call, like Jake the Snake's passed out on my car right now.
Yeah. It was like, I mean, it was so surreal and shit like that. And you know, at one point, you know, he was hitting himself in he punched the back of the stage of the fantasy theater, which are red curtains. Well, there's a brick wall behind it. Falls over with his hand, and then he's hitting himself with a wrench and stuff like that. You know, Ray, you know, bless Ray's heart at the time, was trying to explain to Jake the Snake that I wasn't trying to set him up. It wasn't happening. You know, you're just drunk. We're trying to help you. I eventually called the ambulance and the police to try to get him out of there, and he refused everybody. So I had to pay my ring crew guy $100 to drive him 2 blocks to the hotel, just so I can make sure that he got out of my hands. I still went to the hotel room that night, and the door was wide open, vomit everywhere. And Jake the Snake's face down. And I mean, cell phone cameras weren't as popular. They were just coming out at the time. But man, would I love to have a droid back then. Just shit. But the next day, his manager wanted me to drive him to the airport. I wanted nothing to do with him. I didn't realize what we had at the time. But by Sunday night, there was over all the people that did have cameras in the crowd, there were 10,000 views. So by Monday morning, I was woken up by Rover's Morning Glory right on the air to talk about it. And then by 11 o'clock that day, TMZ sent us the email and was like, we'll buy the footage. So there's a receipt on my...
Awesome. Yeah, and it was all over the place. That's where I first...
That Monday night, it was on TV. Yeah, it was that Monday night. And it was like... They were doing my quotes, and like, you know, in retrospect, I was still green as a promoter. There's things that I could have, as being more seasoned, that I could have created to fix a lot of this stuff and let it happen and still made it part of the show. I would have sent my champion who just won back out to take on people. We could have stayed the show. We could have done, instead of just sending everybody out, we could have got Jake out and created a distraction for the fans. And I didn't. I was panicking. You know what I mean? I was.
That's how you learn those things.
Yeah, I was 25. You know,
right.
You got
a near riot situation with an '80s legend.
Yeah. One of the greats. You know what I mean? Like you know, I love him, but like, what if that, you know, Bret Hart's not that kind of guy, but like, you know, my favorite wrestler is Bret Hart's. You know, what if I booked Rob Van Dam and he had an episode like that? And these guys aren't not known for that. Like, but what if? You know what I mean? I was like that damaging for a while. You know what I mean? And I still did wrestling. I continued on to do it. You know, I never drew. You know, you know, you sit outside of the queue now and pass out a Firestone flying. They're like, "Aren't you the Jake the Snake motherfuckers?"
Yeah, so it's still kind of
it's like I'm that name is synonymous with that ugly thing, and it sucks because it was a good name, it was a good product, and you know, if I do start running again, I don't know if I might start fresh. You know what I mean? I might even do it in Cleveland.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cleveland might be the wrong market for it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just burn yourself out in the city and you gotta escape for a while, so they forget about you.
Yeah,
you come back.
This is still JT's city, even though he's passed. I mean, AIW runs Turner's Hall.
Right.
It's just AIW is a really well perfected Cleveland All Pro at this point. And when we started AIW, we were supposed to be the anti-Cleveland All Pro.
Exactly.
It was moving independent wrestling into Peabody's and doing larger production and stuff like that. And they ended up finding their niche and going back to that realm. And I'm like, that's cool. That's not what I would want to do, but I'm happy to sit in a crowd and not pay to put it on.
Right, exactly.
I'd be a fan of it now, and I don't have to deal with the shit,
So that's the wrestling thing's kind of done, but obviously
I would say temporary retired.
Right. Well, their losses are gained because this UNITE CLE show, August 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Fantasy Complex. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could do more with music than I can as a promoter. Vince McMahon can't do what Jamie Josta can do. You know what I mean?
Right. We have lower standards too as musicians. We're the easiest to deal with, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're used to really playing for free. Like wrestlers at least want couple bucks, no matter who they are on the card.
Yeah.
We pretty much know that unless you're booking your own show and doing everything yourself, you're not going to make any fucking money.
Well, I mean, with music, people... And there needs to be a middle ground on that, though. I think that people should be starting to set schedules with their bands. Play for free, but make sure that it means something.
Right.
Make sure it's worth it.
Don't just do this every night. Because it's bands, you see the bands, especially punk, and there's a lot of bands I love that I'm friends with.
Yeah, Nas Class does a lot of the same. They'll play Nas Class.
Right.
Every other week.
And it's like, who do you think's coming to see you? You're not helping yourself by doing this.
And I think that a lot of local bands people are hobbyists. They're doing it just for the feeling of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Here today, gone tomorrow. This would be interesting if we do this interview next year for this. We should pull up the flyers and see what bands are still together.
We will definitely do that.
Yeah, like that's
like show prep for
that's something. I used to say that when I worked with Gorilla and Cleveland music festivals and shit. I would be like, these bands are around, and like, dude, I looked at their lineup now, and like, aside from their headliners, which are the label reps, I don't know who it's why don't they partner with Guitar Center and School of Rock, because it's everybody's first shows, what I mean? Like,
well, that's what it is they make more money. They don't care if they can get a high school band to sell 300 tickets and have people come to one show, and they can do that every time. They're making their money. They don't realize is that having those kids there drives away the people that are really into music. Having a band that's not ready to play the slot they're playing before their time, it's all hurtful to the product as a whole, and it's a short-sighted view of music.
I mean,
It's a get rich
after 15 years, most people as musicians have a 3-year cycle.
Right.
If they don't make it through the first 3 years, they're not sticking around. You know what I mean? And that's why you see bands now that like Solipsis 6-7 years, they just played Mayhem. They're starting to break the ceiling.
Right.
And with Chimera disbanding and turning into whatever Chimera is now and not being a Cleveland band anymore, Solipsis can be that next band now to fill that up and take that
But it just takes a long time. There's not that many slots. I'm still waiting for the Hustle shit slot. I don't even know what it is anymore. I don't know. It doesn't. That's playing at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, but I'm still waiting for that to open.
I gotta call the Hustle Amish. They should have been on just as much as Schnauzer.
Honestly, if I'm going to criticize you for one thing, they should have been on, and there should have been at least a call to the Nick Wolf band.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have said no because I hate my band and don't want to deal with them ever.
No, I didn't. I actually didn't hit you up because I didn't want to ask you to sell tickets.
Here's a secret to bands: don't make people afraid to deal with your band.
Yeah, I was like, I get it. Yeah, there was a couple bands that just sent them right back, and I was like, I get it, I understand, you know what I mean? But like, I look at it like we're so damaged from the Peabody's mentality of pushing bands to sell tickets that like it still is needed.
Right,
like
you
it's
kind of gotta.
I mean, I can't. I mean, I'm over 50,000 on this fest. I need people to help out. You know what I mean? I can't.
You need to know your money.
I need. It's literally a two-way street. You know what I mean? Like the promoter should be taking the risk, but everybody's the promoter. I'm taking it. I'm the one that's set up to take it in the ass to make sure everybody can have a good time. You know what I mean? To be honest, the only time I'll have a good time that weekend is when I'm on stage for my 25-minute slot.
Right.
The rest of the time I'm gonna be stressed. I might enjoy a little bit of spuds. I'll be lucky, and I've been in Mushroom Head for 11 years. I've been working for them for literally since I was in high school. I'll be lucky to enjoy 2 songs that night.
Right.
I mean that sucks. I'd rather be a fan. I'd rather be a musician than being a promoter, but I'm not going to sit back and
someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. I'm going to, like, you know, if this is what I do every year and this is what I'm known for in the city, then hell yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's what needs to happen because no one else is picking the ball up. It's there, you know.
Right. Exactly.
We all want it. Everybody wants it. You know, that's why the UNITE CLE, we released it as a shirt, actually. Killing It did like a year ago, and the shirt is how I started getting popularity. You know,
right.
I sell more of those than my own band shirt.
That's
know,
why I did Unilocal 00. I started with just like a thing, and then it eventually became something.
You know, and it's because there's so many Cleveland Chloe lines. A lot of hipsters are very like, "Hi, I got my Cleveland tattoo at the Terminal Tower and a heart in the shape of Ohio," and it's like this. It's like you go to West 25th, and there's always people that claim they're Cleveland.
Right.
But I'm like, you ain't Cleveland for shit. I've been starving because of this all these years. We need UNITE CLE for the musicians. There needs to be we need to be proud of something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
I think we can be proud of this show. Dude, I mean, there's no more to say. If you're listening, you're gonna be here. You know, it's fucking gonna be a great time. Our biggest fucking thing of all year. And hopefully we'll be, you know, Touch Cleveland will be out there. We'll be popping our heads up, maybe talking to some people and stuff. But definitely get out at the Fantasy Complex August 24th, 25th, 26th. JC Koszewski's been great.
Pleasure,
show, Jeremy Shear.
Yeah.
Been awesome. What are your next? What do you got going on? Comedian. I know you want to plug.
Yeah, I've got a lot to plug. Tuesday, August 14th, I'll be at the Grog Shop opening for Ryan Dalton.
Oh, awesome.
That's he just won the World Series of Comedy. That's going to be fun. Jimmy Graham is going to be there too. Wednesday at Mayhall's Unsuitable Language Sketch Show. I'll be there with Hobo Joe, actually, is in the group.
Hobo Joe?
Yeah, Eric.
Has he been wrestling anymore? Or?
I don't know if he still wrestles. He just mostly does comedy now because he's
really funny and a nice kid, but I never booked him because I was like, would you pay money to see you wrestle? I would always say that, like, you know, like he was okay and people knew him, so that's how he got booked. But like, you know, come up with something better, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw his gimmick and I was like, holy shit, it's homeless Jimmy from XPW.
But that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, but you know, no, he's actually he's getting a lot more recognition for his comedy now.
Yeah, so I've looked at some of his stuff online, and you know, I always liked the kid. I never booked him. I just never was like, I can't put that out there. Yeah. There was another kid named Jimmy the Hippie from Erie, and I was like, do you want me to book Jim? It's 2009. I'm not going to book Jimmy the Hippie. Like, you know, that's the problem with that. The wrestling world is like, people don't. They're like 4%, maybe 5% is actually legit, original, and creative.
Yeah, right.
It's just rehashing stuff they saw when they're kids.
Behind, stuck in the 80s or 90s or
yeah, and like
you know, they want to relive their childhood, and so
and it's that's why we're in that era where you're seeing Austin Aries as a champion in TNA, CM Punk as a champion there, Shima Zion as champion in TNA, or Zima Ion, he wrestled as me for Shima. You're seeing people that are developing these original.
And it's kind of the resurgence now that's coming up, and just the guys that have been just indie guys for years and years and years are finally getting their slots.
And they were the indie guys that were held down because they were indie guys, and they're like, no, we will tell a story, and we'll create layers of character, and that's what's so important, you know.
It is. But back to me.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, Hobo Joe, I love you. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's an Unsuitable Language Sketch Show at Mayhall's over on Madison. 9 o'clock. Hobo Joe and I both wrote a couple of sketches, and then we've also got Kristen Galewood, John Wellington from the Cleveland Comedy Festival, Rodesky Hopkins. It's a mix of stand-up and sketch. And then I do Muhammad's Radio every Saturday night / Sunday morning, 2:30 a.m. on 89.3 WCSB Cleveland. We're doing a live taping at Touch on Tuesday, August 28th, and that's with
the Supper Club.
Yeah, they've been doing podcast tapings there.
That's funny. It's called a supper club. Sorry.
It is funny.
It is funny.
Because they used to have that club underneath there. That's a pretty crazy shows. You go upstairs, there's people drinking wine.
Yeah, it's like
it's like we're out puking and knocking shit over.
It's like a Spitfire was under Divine.
Right.
Ridiculous there. But it's every Tuesday they do a live podcast taping. Hello Cleveland's actually going to be there, I think, this coming Tuesday.
Oh yeah, they were plugging that,
Yeah, and then Awkward Sex shows the following Tuesday, and then Muhammad's Radio, which that should be interesting because I think that's the first time we're going to get phone lines in there. So.
Cool. That's something we're working on too, to get here and the streaming and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's like we were talking. It's a mixed bag because you can't give people too many calls can really destroy your show really quickly.
Yeah. Well, CSB has 4 open lines, and there's 2 shows that use all 4 lines at once.
Right.
Ours is one of them, and it can destroy a show depending on who calls in.
Yeah.
But, the purpose of our show is it's chaotic and it's caller driven. And unfortunately, that means the show's hit or miss, having little to do with me and more to do with the callers.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
especially at that hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting everyone where they're in prime form.
Yeah, you're getting. I'm coming up from the bar, and I heard you on the air.
Yeah, we get a lot of third shifters though too. So
that's
those
cool.
guys are usually on their game. So
they're on their game.
Well, I mean, they're at work doing nothing, calling in the fucking show and giving us crap, and it works out really well. I mean, we've been doing it for 2.5 years, so
that's cool.
And somebody snuck me the numbers, and it's working. So
good, awesome.
But I wish it would translate into audience so that I can actually monetize it. But
yes, that's the goal right there. We're trying to figure that out too. How do you make money doing this?
Buy my shirt, but I can't plug anything I'm fucking selling on there because it's college radio. And nobody at CSB likes me because I keep trying to plug my shit, so... Because if you're trying to make money doing college radio, we don't want you at WCSB.
Right. Well, what's the thing with that? Like, I was going to go to CSB, but I decided I wanted to actually get out of school within a year and not be there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, those, they don't leave, man. They stay Rhino Air from Hot Track's been there forever. Sweet Ass has been there for what?
Is Sweet Ass still there?
Yeah, he's still there. He's still doing 669 Fridays.
Oh my God, really? I mean, they're talking. I mean, Unite and CLE talking old school Cleveland. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I found out about Schnauzer and all that stuff. Was that show?
That's how I found out about half the shit.
Most people, I mean, that was where you'd be exposed to something.
Sweet Ass sucker
Talking
fast.
about people that you don't want to meet. Well, it was a disappointment just because he's very private, but and it's like
Craig.
Yeah. And doesn't look at me as a colleague because of what I do is completely different, but it's just what it is.
Yeah, he's friends with Steve Eggs, so he's got to be a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool,
Steve Eggs, I have a 4th of July party every year, and the last 2 years, him and Bill Bailey come, and it cracks me up. Well, this year I forgot that they were coming, and I was already shit-faced. I was just like, oh, my night was going to be great, and then Bill Bailey showed up. And, but, I love Bill. But I always got along great with Steve, even from back in the Schnauzer days. But it's just ridiculous when I got, like, all the chicks hanging out. And then you see pictures, just hot chicks, and then Steve Eggs, like thumbs up, like...
He's always that creep that's able to sneak in.
I love it. I like that element.
Before it was a thing.
And I think, he was photobombing for the thing. And I like that weirdness in him.
Yeah, he's like a unique fucker. Yeah, he's calling me right now. So.
He really is.
Yes, talking about. I'm seeing what's going on. I'm you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
All right, now sketch comedy at May Halls.
Yeah, Wednesday, August 15th. It's going to be the last show for the quarter, and then we're going to be back in November, December. But we're also doing a benefit show next month for the kid that got shot in Denver because he's a comic and just had a baby, so give him a little chunk of change. That'll be at Kennedy's in Playhouse Square, but more information is forthcoming once I yell at John to figure out the nonprofit that's doing that, so that it's actually tax deductible instead of just sending a check to his girlfriend. So,
right.
That'll be coming up. Just follow me on Twitter at Dirty Shear, and it has everything that I'm doing.
Sounds great. Cool. Jeremy Shear, J.C. Koszewski, Def Jeff, Nick Wolf, No Muzzlecock, thanks for nothing, you mush-mouth idiot. We'll see you next week, hopefully. Aurora Sounds, please get your box packed up with enough tampons to stop your heavy flow. We can see you next week. And Frank Martinez, we're going to get his weirdo ass to do a Hump Day report. You will have that with this show. Thank you, everybody, for listening to our season premiere of Tough Scene Cleveland. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another show. Good night. Subscribe to Tough Scene Cleveland on YouTube. Like Tough Scene Cleveland on Facebook.